A world like the ones we're used to of tower, dungeon, powers systems. And after centuries of suffering, finally the hero was born. Someone with extreme talent, impeccable wisdom, and even a lot of luck. With all this, he reached the last floor of the tower. The strongest person of all times. The light of humanity that will end the darkness. The hero Lin Xiao. He arrived with his team. It's already the third time he reincarnates. This time, be it attributes or skills, he already has everything. He's perfectly prepared. He has the strongest weapons in the world and all the tools available. Looking at his system window, he says that the system is showing that if they just win this fight, everything will finally come to an end and humanity will find peace again. He thanks the system. It was only because of him that he got so far. Unfortunately, he doesn't know what he's going to find here on the highest floor because he never got here and the system never gave him any info. The people in his group even comment, "Look at the leader there again interacting with thin air, he's really crazy. He must be thinking about that hot girl again." The leader turns around. "No, you morons, I'm thinking about how we're going to defeat the Demon King." He says that everyone gets it wrong because only he sees the system. We see a girl with red hair mesmerized with the beauty of that place. Everyone in the group is impressed with such a luxurious appearance of the floor. So this is the last floor of the magic tower? But why is it so empty? Are you sure the boss is going to show up here? Unlike all the other places that were dark and scary, this one is luxurious and beautiful. Lin Xiao looks back and says, "In dungeons and towers, the more beautiful it looks, the more dangerous the place. So you all should be cautious." He explains that after the first regression, this is the first time they get to the last floor, so he has no idea what's going to show up here. His group is excited. Everyone's saying it's thanks to the leader. The knight is all proud saying, "The leader has always been amazing. He always knows the weaknesses of each of the creatures. Our future depends on you, Lin Xiao." The red beauty friend goes to talk to him. "Lin Xiao, with you here we will win." He says, "Let's give all we have." But suddenly blood is flying all over the room. His pupils contract in disbelief. The cute girl that he was just talking to got beheaded in a split second, her head hitting the floor like a meaningless piece of flesh. He hears a foot on his back. Someone smiles and is already behind him, saying hello. He pulls the sword. Who's here? Thinking, what monster is this that I didn't even feel approaching? He tries to slash the unknown creature, but the monster stops it with a single finger. The monster says, "You had a good sword, too bad she was fragile." He's confused. Wait, how did my sword break? This is the most powerful weapon in this world and it broke with a touch of his finger. The monster is already on his back again. Where are you looking? He turned scared to attack again but got hit with a dark magic explosion. Lin Xiao was sent flying across the room and when he hit the wall he was already done. He asks, "You are the Demon King?" Lin Xiao is confused. How is it possible for a monster to have a human form? The Demon King says, "I am the incarnation of all the fear of humanity and the unknown, a creation of darkness belonging to you. It is natural that I have the human form." Lin Xiao tries to use the system to see the Demon King's stats, and his HP didn't go down with the blow of his sword. Wait, how is it possible? I hit with all my strength and didn't cause any damage? His system says that the guy's life is locked. There is no way to go down, and there is no way to disable that. And his mana has an infinite symbol. What does he have? Unlimited power? That means that he's invincible. He feels as if an incomprehensible monstrosity was standing in front of him, and the system is announcing, "Danger, extreme danger. Your chance of winning is 0.0000001. The best plan is to escape. The route is being calculated." Lin Xiao had never received a message like that. He sees right away that there is no chance. But he thinks, calm down. I need to be calm and think about it. But the Demon King did the unthinkable. He grabbed his system and broke it with his bare hands. Lin Xiao was puzzled. The king says, "I saw this incredible thing of yours here. Did you think you could only see it? Is that what has been guiding you all this time? Was that your secret to find those divine weapons? As much as I don't know what it is, now it's gone." Lin Xiao was screaming, my system, what have you done? How do you see the system?" The Demon King says that now nothing will stop him from killing that guy. Lin Xiao thinks, okay, I'm going to be dead. I have no chance against him. Even if it's not my first death, this one is scaring me more than the others. I still can't think of any way to kill this guy. But no, I can't give up. If I die this time, I will return. I just need to work even harder, while I can come back. Have hope for humanity. One day I will find a way out. But that's when he notices that he's getting healed. He gets confused. Why is he healing me? He sees that his life is going up very fast. It's a very high level healing magic. He starts to float and asks the Demon King, "Why are you healing me?" The Demon King tells him, You are a regressor, aren't you? You've gone back in time. I noticed your familiarity with all floors and monsters. You already knew the weaknesses and knew the skills, as if you could see the future. But you were surprised when I showed up. That means that this is not the case. So I'm right, aren't I? You've come back more than once, maybe 2-3 times. If I kill you now, you'll come back in time again, won't you? Again and again, in an infinite loop, until the day that in some way you can finally kill me. Judging by your expression, I got it right, didn't I? And in that case, I won't let you die. Demon King snaps his fingers and surrounds him with a purple tornado, saying, Your armor is the best equipment in the world. No one can break it besides me. As expected of a regressor, isn't it? The guy is confused. What's going on? What is he doing? The king explains, While you suffer from my flames, my healing ability will heal you forever. Where your melted unbreakable armor will keep you trapped forever, neither alive nor dead, just locked in an endless cycle of pain and healing. Usually speaking, the protagonist always has the aura of the winner. However, everyone has already felt once in their life that they were the protagonist. So, no one knows who really is the real protagonist. This is a question that prophets cannot answer, only the historians of the future, since we can only see the point of view of those who won the battle to be able to tell the stories. So the strongest is the protagonist, and I am the strongest of the bosses. Brother, did you expect this? He is our MC, but he also is the villain, and gets ready because he is evil. In the news everyone is talking about it. All the citizens of the city are crying. The Lin Chao team and all his friends perished. They know that the place where they disappeared was the last floor of the tower. Humanity lost its regressor, and no one knows anything about the last floor and what resides there. Battle after battle, humanity always believes that justice will prevail one day. We see that the Association of the Awakened expressed their condolences and is calling all the Awakened to help continue challenging the Tower of Demons. Maybe one day justice will prevail, but no one knows how many will be sacrificed until that day arrives. We see a cute skinny red-haired girl with a knight next to her. She asks Qin Feng, Is this the secret dungeon of rank S? They go to the place that is isolated by caution warning. In this world the monsters appear randomly in every corner of the city, and they keep coming out infinitely from the passage of the tower, and obviously destroying everything on the way. To save lives, only the most powerful awakened can attack the tower. The duo enters the S-class dungeon, a desolate place. The waifu asks him, Are you sure that these rank S monsters will drop the blood cone, and that this will work against the Demon King? The blood cone is an item that sets a rule. Its effect is very simple. Every attack has to cause at least some damage. The warrior tells her that in the end good will definitely defeat evil. Tian, your understanding of the world is far from enough. She apologizes and says, I know that you were chosen by the gods, even still being so young. In a few years you will surpass Lin Chao for sure. With crazy eyes she was all loving there, saying, I have nothing but admiration for you and I will always be by your side. But that's when they see something. Someone is on top of a dead dragon. The girl with the crazy eyes asks the warrior if that guy had already taken the cone of blood. Above the corpse was the king saying, I imagine that some human would want to use the blood cone to deal with the Demon King using a rule-based item, so I went ahead and asked this cute monster for it. The warrior Qi Feng tells him, You did well, boy, now pass it on to me. But the king answered saying, You don't even know who I am and you're trying to steal from me? Bai Qin Feng says that it's for the good of humanity. How is it going to be considered theft? I'm Bai Qin Feng. Have you ever heard of me? This item will be much more worth it in my hand than in yours. It will help me defeat the Demon King. This here is for justice to prevail. But the Demon King just raised the crystal and Qin Feng felt something coming, so he used his absolute defense instantly. A defense in an area of 2 meters limited to one person. Inside there Qin Feng is scared. What kind of power was that? This guy is not human. But when he looks again the king already has the red-haired girl as a hostage. You are Bai Qin Feng, aren't you? The mysterious genius who will become the successor of Lin Chao. Destroy this absolute defense of yours and I'll let you and your admirer run away. I always keep my promise. If you don't believe me, Qi Feng is a hero of the world but no of the girls, so he says, Tian, you're sacrificing yourself for the world. After your death I'll create a memorial for you. Suddenly he did a teleporting punch. Our villain was in shock. You attacked me without hesitating a second. You really don't care about the life of your admirer. It seems that my understanding of the human race is still not enough. The Qin Feng guy says that a powerful hero is always lonely. There will always be several sacrifices. It is inevitable. King Demon, you are the villain. The King Demon puts her on the floor saying, Does everyone think so? The girl is crying. Qin Feng, how are you so cold-blooded? I've been following you for so many years. How did you do that to me? But she suddenly shouts out of nowhere, Qin Feng, leave me here to die. Run for your life and use the crystal cube to save yourself. But now he wants to beat the villain. I'm the chosen one of God and the star of humanity. Justice will prevail. I have determination and I will win for humanity. The girl was puzzled that now that she told him to run he wants to stay and fight. While our villain starts to laugh like a psychopath. Ten says that if the guy doesn't want to run away, he will give a reward. He stretches his hand, creating an aura dark around by Qi Feng. The floor explodes, creating a huge crater. Failing in the endless abyss, Bai Qin Feng is confused. I'm going to be defeated like that. The king demon says, go take a sip of that magma if you're so thirsty for victory. However, you must be proud of sacrificing yourself, a heroic death. With that, Bai Qi Feng was sent to the endless abyss where he would be stuck forever. The crazy girls felt desperate. She knew that she was about to die. She's kind of bewildered there. Qin Feng, he died. I'm going to die too. But suddenly she notices that she was left there abandoned. When she looked back, she saw that he had already opened the portal and was leaving. Hey, he's going to leave me here without killing me? She asks, you're not going to kill me? He says, I told you that if he had destroyed the magic cube I was going to let you two live, and I always keep my promise. He's never going to leave there, so the cube doesn't exist anymore. But if I find you again, I'll kill you. She was stuck there without being able to say a single word. Maybe it was admiration or maybe relief that she felt. While the Demon King is climbing a ladder and entering the portal there, now walking around the city as if nothing has just happened. Meanwhile, at the Human Awakened Association headquarters, a little waifu there who looks kind of creepy. Doesn't she look kind of scary with the eyes too much on the side of the head? She's asking someone, sir, do you want to join the Association of Awakened? Another secretary comes all happy and smiles saying, wow, the monsters are so strong today. We need awakened guys, even more beautiful ones like you. What's your name? Your level? Your skills? Do you want to venture into a dungeon called my bedroom? The guy says, my name is Bai Qin Feng, the mysterious genius. You must have heard about me. Our villain is going to steal the identity of the guy he killed. Since the guy was a mysterious genius that no one really knew how he looked, no one is going to suspect. A meeting is taking place at the Seven Elders Hall. A guy is surrounded by an enormous wall where 7 people are sitting at the top. Those are 7 Elders Hall, and one of them says, there's one of us missing here. The guy says Lin Xiao, who had regression ability, failed in conquering the tower and never returned. The old man says to them, while the Demon King is inside the tower, he will have the blessing of immortal blood and the infinite magic power. The strongest of us can no longer die like this. We need a new plan. I notified everyone that it is forbidden to challenge the magic tower for now. The humans are looking for items to seal the magic tower and let the creatures die alone there. It's the safer way for them to stop this massacre. But a girl with voluptuous thick lips says, I already summoned another favorite of God from another dimension. He is a time traveler from a place called Earth. Of course this is secret to the outside world. He doesn't know he was summoned by me to save this place. The owner of that mouth also has an extremely elegant and impressive style, with curves that would make Cristiano Ronaldo Trivelas look like a straight shot. She says that the soul she brought is in the body of the brother of Lin Xiao, the hero that just died, and it seems that this kid is looking for a way to seal the tower. An old man shows up saying that in the last month, on a full moon, he had a premonition about Linfeng. Soon he will find the item that seals the magic tower, so the magic tower will be sealed soon. The same old man was walking when the overexcited girl came to talk with him asking, Mr. Prophet, will Linfeng really be able to seal the tower? The old man is just side-eyeing her, and she's all happy. He puts on his maniac face and says, Miss, you need to think about it. And if we seal the tower with the Demon King on the outside and not inside, it's going to be useless. She asks, so what are we going to do? Then he warms her cheeks, which a rope fast slaps, saying, don't worry. I'm kidding. Do you think the Demon King is going to leave the tower demonic? Not to mention that if he doesn't have his blessings from the tower, he will be at the same level as our strongest heroes. As soon as we find out his identity, he will be destroyed in an instant. The old man got excited and shouted, he stays inside the tower trapped forever, or he leaves and is defeated out here. As long as Linfeng finds the item, we will win.my premonitions are so good. The girl leaves saying that she has to go. Then the old man enters his room. Speaking of which, Linfeng should be coming back, right? I'm scared. That's when he sees someone sitting in his room and asks, hey, who are you in my room? Brothers, this old man should have used his premonition on himself. The Demon King says, I'm the awakened one who just joined the association and my name is Bai Qi Feng. The old man says, you are the new mysterious genius that I have heard about. Nobody knows what you're like by King Feng. He gets up there saying, I wouldn't say I'm a genius, but it's an honor to participate in the eradication of the Demon King. The old man says that he is very polite and tells him to sit down. But the Demon King is just standing still and asks, I heard from the other elders that you are the one who foretold the future. Is that true? Cause I came here to ask for a prediction of yours about the future of the Demon King. The old man lays back and says, do you think it's that easy to make a plan to kill the Demon King? If I could predict the future of the Demon King, then the light of humanity would be me. For my prediction to work, I have to touch the person on a full moon to see a little bit of their future. The Demon King grabs his neck asking, Mr. Prophet, today is a full moon, isn't it? I thought the old man would go crazy, but he was chilling. Young man, you're stupid, or are you pretending to be? What I mean is that I need to touch the person involved in the forecast. I have no fighting ability. How could I touch the Demon King to predict his future? But it's at this time that the old man realizes something. Kid, you're not Ba Qing Feng, you're the Demon King. He force-activated the great prophecy on him, and he found out that he's going to die. The Demon King will be killed in the next season, when the snowflakes start to fall. Our villain used an ability to read minds, so he saw everything. He raises the old man from the chair saying, your predictions are usually accurate. The old man was begging for mercy, but the Demon King tells him, predict your future there, you die today, yes or no? The old man was sweating and in shock because the answer was obvious. The Demon King tells us that this web novel is very cliché, the story of a modern man who goes to the fantasy world, upgrades, wins and acts like a pretentious person, acting cool and mocking arrogant characters. In the end, he defeats the Demon King. Then we see a guy with orange hair saying that he used to be a normal person that was reading this novel on planet Earth, until Truck Kun appeared as in any prologue of transmigration stories. He became one of the characters in the novel, the second son of the Lin family. His older brother was the hope of humanity, Lin Xiao, and he's the half-trashed brother, Lin Feng. The impression everyone has of him is that he's a horrible playboy who only stays in his brother's shadow. But everything will change now, right? Because he took over this body. He instantly went to talk to his father about a map with legendary sealed items. He was already familiar with the story of this novel and had an omniscient viewpoint. Whoever read this, I love that series. He knew the process to get those items, so he first took the map with the location and went to the Awakened Association. The guy at least is conscious cause he's thinking, my brother is dead. That means he's not the protagonist of this story. Who is it? I'm not really sure if it's me, so it's yet to be revealed. But I have to save the world and become the true hero of it. He looks at the brunette girl right next to him and thinks, the beauty of ice. So wonderful that in my past life I wouldn't even have the courage to dream of her. But in this life she will be my wife. Oh, you naughty boy. And he says that he met the red hair halfway. She's just like a little rabbit, always scared, and he keeps saving her. That's the girl that our villain MC was merciful. He pats her head saying that everything in the headquarters is safe. She can be calm. She smiles and blushes, thanking brother Lin Feng. He leaves thinking that it's so easy to have a sweet romance with such a silly girl. The time traveler's life is the best there is. He says to his group that he has to do some business and will meet them later. The girl with red hair asks where he's going, and he replies that he's going to have a chat with the great prophet. But this guy has a disturbed mentality. He's already thinking that if he really saves this world and seals the demonic tower, he would abandon those half-ass girls instantly. He asks himself, when I save this world, I'll still want to have these women there. The goth girl went to the reception asking for work, and also she wants to recommend someone to join the association. The girl at the reception asks who is this red-haired girl with a crazy face. The girl says that her name is Lin Chang, and she is the only person who saw the Demon King and is alive to tell the story. The receptionist asks about the story, and she explains that she was in a dungeon with the genius Bai Qi Feng, and he fought against the Demon King. Unfortunately, he died, but the Demon King spared her life. But the girl in the reception says that Bai Qi Feng just joined the association and seems to be fine. In addition, he just went to meet the great prophet. The duo is puzzled. Wait, is Bai Qi Feng alive? The receptionist confirms once more. Back to the great prophet. He is still in despair, begging for his life. But the Demon King asked, did you see your end? The old man is about to collapse, saying that he will serve and he will do whatever he wants. But the Demon King tells him that he's just too boring. He just repeats the same words. He thought that all humans were strong and warriors, but seeing weak guys like him makes him believe that humanity is not a real danger. He raises him once more and finishes him saying, I'll send you for an eternal journey, B. Then the Demon King left the room. He leaves on the other side of the portal, thinking if I go back to the magic tower, Li Feng will seal me there, so I have to stop him. but for that I'll have to fight him from the outside and I'll end up dying at the hands of some hero like in the prophecy. The Demon King, considering everything, thinks that maybe it's better to get stuck in the tower, and eventually maybe he will find a way to break the barrier. But when he raises his head remembering a backdoor to leave the association, someone grabs his shoulder. It was Lin Feng that went to talk with the prophet asking, "Who are you? I've never seen you here." The Demon King thought, "Damn it, I was caught." Then he answered, "I'm an awakened person who just joined the association. What's the problem?" Li Feng stares at him, then points to his S-rank brooch saying, "You have this on your chest, and that's something only the strongest awakened can use. Are you that strong?" Lin Feng, that was eager to find the item to seal the Demon King, seeing a S-rank in front of him, had the worst idea possible. "If you're so strong, why don't you join my group? We're going to hunt the item to seal the Demon King." Our villain asks, "Item to seal?" He says, "Yes, I'm Li Feng. You may not have heard about me, but soon everyone in the world will know this name. I'm looking for people like you, who just woke up and are already very powerful. Why don't you join my group?" Our anti-hero smiles, "If you are Lin Feng, of course I can join you. Demon Kings is going to make a mess in the guy's team." Lin Feng tells him that he's a lucky guy. He found a capable leader just like him. "Follow me obediently, and I'll never treat you badly in the future. And in our group there are some very pretty girls to have some night adventures. I even have the only person who survived after seeing the Demon King." The Demon King asks Lin Feng to explain that better. He says that it is just a girl that is already a member of his group. Soon you will meet her. Our demon is trying to swiftly get the F out of there when Qin Feng looks back and asks where he's going. The Demon King comes up with the worst excuse conceivable, saying that the little pig that he took care of his whole life is giving birth, and he has to go back home to help. Qin Feng was confused. "Taking care of pigs? What are you talking about?" But that's when the girls arrived calling for Captain Li Feng. He grabs our demon saying, "She is." The crazy one is all smiles as always, greeting the captain, who goes to our hero and says, "You may not know, but being surrounded by hot girls every day is somewhat tiring. But there's nothing I can do cause they don't detach from my side." Lin Tian, the absolute psychopath, goes to the Demon King and asks who he is. Knowing that his identity is about to be exposed, he's in trouble. That's the worst scenario possible. So he was ready to kill her. But just to see her reaction, he said hi to her. And what he wouldn't expect happens. She hugs him saying, "Senior by Qin Feng, I heard you managed to escape the Demon King and I was so happy." Lin Feng heard the name and remembered that the reincarnated Bai Qi Feng should be dead in the story at this point. How is he here? As always, the deranged girl is all happy saying, "Mr. Bai, I was so worried about you that all I could only think about was seeing you again." Our villain thinks that she knows that he's not Bai Qi Feng but the Demon King. Look at the naughty face she makes saying, "I was very grateful that you saved me from the demon, and since I'm a good girl I will pay back my debts with you. From now on I'll be your biggest follower. I really admire strong people." Brothers, I said that she was crazy. She knows the guy is the strongest existence. And for her that's all that matters. She's willing to follow and do anything for the guy that is strong enough to protect her. The Demon King couldn't help but smile. An admirer of the Demon King who wants to pay kindness. "It's the first time I've met a human like that." He says to her, "You're very smart one. I won't treat you badly." Lin Feng didn't like that cause 10 seconds ago she was her follower. He tries to intervene and says that he was her captain when his fiancée also showed interest in the Demon King. "So you're the genius by Qin Feng? I heard a lot about you being stronger and the future of this land. I'm Leah." Lin Feng tried once more to say something that everyone just ignored. Leah asked Tian and Qifeng how the Demon King looked since both of them had seen him. They just play off with OU villain saying that the demon just looks like a bad person is easy to know when you see her. And Tian saying that he looked ferocious and terrifying. The trio is laughing and having fun, but Qi Feng of course is not enjoying losing 2 juicy waifus in 20 seconds. That's 1 waifu every 10 seconds already. From behind he was thinking, what kind of plot is this? This by Qin Feng was supposed to have died at the hands of the Demon King, and Qian was the only person who should have seen him. Are my actions causing a butterfly effect? I have to ask the Great Prophet about this guy. But that's when someone came screaming. When he looks back, the girl was shouting that something happened to the Great Prophet. Qi Feng asked what happened to him. She tells everyone that the Prophet was killed, but half an hour ago he was alive and slapping her ass. They need to investigate who talked to him in the meantime. Lin Feng thought about that, and was about to say that the only one that saw the Prophet was by Qi Feng when our demon interrupted and said, "Only Captain Lin Feng and I have met the Prophet." Lin Feng tells him to shut up. "I didn't even find that guy. You were here in front of the door." Then Lin Feng stops and thinks for a second. You're the guy who killed the great prophet. I knew from the beginning that you were weird. But Leah grabbed his hand telling him to calm down Lin Feng. But he threw her on the floor saying, "Get out of here, you idiot." The guy starts screaming, "You were fooled. This guy is not Bai Qin Feng. I'm coming to give you a punch, kid, you fooled them. But not me." Our boy smiles, gets out of there. He shouts that this Bai Qi Feng is fake and is deceiving everyone. He rushes to punch him saying, "You might be able to deceive others but you can't deceive me. But our demon is already on his back. You don't even compare yourself to Lin Xiao, and you think you can talk to me like that." Then he hits him on the neck making him fall and steps on his head. Look at the crazy girl face and how much she's enjoying that while she thinks, "That's how the person I chose should be." Our protagonist tells him, "I think you should calm down," while he finds it weird how this guy knows that I'm not Bai Qin Feng if he hasn't even seen the guy. Then he says, "I heard about you, Lin Zhao's youngest brother, isn't it? The hope of humanity, a trash without talent and without any value. Just seeing it to believe that you're so much worse than your brother." Lin Feng is staring at him in disbelief. "I'm a transmigrator that received overpowering buffs. So how is this trash doing this to me?" Leah talks with our demon, saying, "Lin Feng used to be an honest person. It is just lately that he became more impulsive, but please don't hurt him." But from the floor Lin Feng equips a S-class claw and tries to attack our demon that skillfully dodges. The protagonist is puzzled. He knows every single genius that humanity has and this guy is not in the list. So how does he have an S-class weapon? Someone suddenly appears and says, "Stop fighting." Those words came with a power that dispelled everyone's abilities and our protagonist instantly recognized that it was some rule-based power. It was the president of the association, and his talent makes all and any power disappear in his domain. The president says, "Every member of the association is a power of humanity to fight against demons. Why are you fighting against each other?" Our protagonist knows that he's screwed. Out of the Tower of the Demon King he doesn't have this op buffs. This is too dangerous. I need to be more careful with my behavior in the future. In a smart read of the situation he instantly apologizes saying, "I'm sorry for causing problems. I promise it won't happen again." But Lin Feng was dumb and shouted at the president, "Why didn't you stop when he punched me? Now you're interfering when I was going to hit him? Are you trying to defend him?" Our protagonist finds this weird. This is the kind of genius who got a rank S weapon and the map to seal the tower? He doesn't seem to have either the brain nor the strength necessary for that. The president says, "Lin Feng, shut up. All I do is because I'm on the side of humanity." But Lin Feng loses his cool and leaves saying that he knows that everyone looks down on him so he's going to prove himself, just wait. The president lets out a sigh, touches the Demon King's shoulder and asks, "You're Bai Qin Feng, right? I admire you because not only are you a cautious boy, but you're also very calm." Our Demon King finds it weird. What the hell is this? Why do all humans like me? The president tells him, "We've already started an investigation into the death of the prophet and located demonic energy. Maybe the king and the demon have left the dungeon, but that has nothing to do with humans. The reason why no one suspects the king is because a monster that looks like a human was never seen in the whole history of this world." The president encourages him, "You have to help Lin Feng seal the tower. You carry the future of humanity on your shoulders, boy." Our demon smiles and thanks him but thinks, "I do carry the future of humanity, but in my future humanity is destroyed." The president says, "Keep working together cause we all depend on young people like you," and then leaves. Leah says that she's going to take a look at Lin Feng cause he's acting strange. Our protagonist asks her to wait and asks, "What did you say about him changing his personality recently out of nowhere? What happened?" He's worried that asking that would make him suspicious, so he says, "I'm very worried about him and that's why I got a little impulsive." She looks at him, I get it, but she's thinking, this Bai Qin Feng is a good guy, he's even worried about Lin Feng. She then explains everything to him, that Lin Feng was a coward, but out of nowhere he changed completely. Started talking about books, that he was a worthless side character. Something about transmigration, cheats and parallel worlds. She thought he was crazy, but suddenly he really became someone completely different. Not only did he become someone with an extravagant aura, but he also became bold and courageous. He even started finding a lot of high-level items all of a sudden, and using all these S-rank items, he managed to reach the minimum to be promoted to S-rank. The elders of our family think he received some kind of awakening. Our demon boy is thinking that so much changes wouldn't be related to simple awakening. How he was so sure that I'm not Bai Qin Feng if he never saw the dude. What would be the reason for him not to tell anyone? With so much changes in such a short time, maybe he doesn't want them to know that he's not the real Lin Feng, so he doesn't get expelled from the family. At that moment an earthquake started to happen, and in the city they were talking that a rank A demon left the dungeon and ran to the city. One guy asks if no one went to stop the monster. His friends tells Lin Feng went to face him. Rank A demon, the canine corpse. Lin Feng is already going to give him a sword slash with his S-rank sword, giving that ego speech. Trash like you should not dare you show up in my presence. He sends a bunch of ice crystals in the direction of the monster, raises his weapon saying that he is the hero that will protect everyone, and he executes a vertical slash right in the middle of the canine and executes it. Everyone is impressed and excited about him. Lin Feng is really the true hero. Even the crazy one from the association is praising him. But our demon king that knows every monster recognizes the canine corpse and knows that it is an extremely rare creature. So rare that almost no one knows of a distinct characteristic of it. Lin Feng is there sending his 1,000 cuts. Our protagonist explains, his characteristic is that when he receives the right amount of attacks, the canine falls to the floor and the king finishes his thought. He pretends to be dead and then returns as an even stronger S-rank creature. Lin Feng is all confident striking his hero pose while everyone shouts his name. Even the two waifus seem to be a little impressed with him. And of course Lin Feng is loving all that attention. But suddenly he hears something behind him and gets scared. The canine is up but now as a demonic hell canine SS class. He looks back scared, but the creature just hits him with a fire explosion attack that sends him flying. He's already done on the ground. Everyone who was celebrating is now running desperate. Lin Feng tries to get up thinking, he pushed me with a blow. Don't tell me it's something legendary above S-class. The canine is already right in front of him. Leah runs to try to save him and tells him to lean on her so they can run away. But the creature already jumped to finish both of them. He looked behind and saw the imminent death while she closed her eyes crying. Damn, until she wanted to kill herself for him. What a heroine. But someone jumped there with a hooded aura, right, son? Who could it be? Our villain thinks, Lin Feng can't die yet. I need him to find the sealing divine item so I can destroy him. Our demon king has to get involved. He needs Lin Feng to find the seal item so he can destroy it to never be locked in his tower, so he says, that's why you're going to have to suffer a little. Then punches the doggy. Leah and Li Feng couldn't believe what they saw, while our protagonist said to the dog, you don't recognize your master? The power of the king made the canine feel minuscule. In a second he became a scared puppy that ran from the scene. No one believes what they saw. The creature was so scared just by looking at him. What's going on? Is Bai Qing Feng so much stronger? Or the monster got weaker? Leah smiles and thanks him for saving both of them. He says it was nothing. He has no idea why the monster was so terrified of him with just a simple punch. Our protagonist's plan was to make Lin Feng owe him one. That way he wouldn't bother him anymore. But that couldn't be further from true. Lin Feng felt humiliated, so he grabbed him by the collar shouting, there must be some kind of special secret about this demon, and you used a special approach, I'm sure. You knew that and humiliated me on purpose, right? You want all the glory for you. Go King Feng. Thank you very much. How did you scare that demon so easily? He says he only seemed strong on the outside, but he was actually a weak creature inside. Lin Feng was losing his mind more and more, while our protagonist was looking at him thinking, now I'm sure that some humans never deserve to be saved. Then he grabs his fist there and pulls it aside and says, what kind of special secret did I have? It was just a normal A-class demon. You are incapable and flawed in your role as a hero. Do you want me to apologize to you to avoid this shame? I'm not interested in joining this performance of yours. Everyone that was watching thought that Lin Feng was being cranky and childish. He just got saved by Bai Qing Feng and acted like that. What a proud guy. He can't even admit he was saved. But even in that situation, Lin Feng was sure that the guy in front of him wasn't Bai Qing Feng. He could only think that he was smart enough to make everyone believe in his disguise. Suddenly our protagonist releases his grip saying, I think all this was a misunderstanding, right? Let's calm down and make up for our friendship. Give me your hand. But that made Lin Feng even more furious. He's playing the innocent after taking advantage. But okay, if you want to pretend, let's see who pretends better. Then Lin Feng says, I lost my cool from being hit by that demon, so please excuse my rudeness. Thank you for saving me, Bai Qing Feng. Please, I apologize for my lack of education. I have to thank you for saving me, Father Kim female. I'll take care of you in the future. Our demon protagonist says, you don't have to be such a polite man. I should be the one to thank you. Then he goes close to his ears and whispers, thanks to you that I'm not suspicious of being the person who killed the great prophet. Once more Lin Feng lost his cool and went to punch him. But Leah held his arm telling him to get a hold of himself. Everyone was watching and he's targeting Bai Qing Feng suddenly. Lin Feng is confused. What is this guy's goal? I don't remember Bai Chi Feng being a character that was good at acting. Who is this guy? Our little demon is facing him thinking, I just want to take the sealing item from you. But if you become an obstacle, I'm not letting you live. The scene changes for a coffee shop where our demon boy is enjoying a warm espresso with Leah. She says, Mr. Chin Feng, thank you very much for saving me yesterday. He says you're welcome, but he doesn't even remember that he saved her. Plot twist, the Demon King has Alzheimer's, and that's why the world still lives in peace. She tells him that soon they will get the sealing item. But unfortunately, Lin Feng didn't show anyone the location. She only knows it's south and it's going to be a very long journey, so she hopes he gets along with Lin Feng and forgives his behavior. She says she's known him since he was young, and he's a good person. Our demons say that he understands, but is thinking that unfortunately the guy is no longer himself. How ironic. A dirty soul from a distant world stole the body of a good person, and a guy like that wants to become the hero of this world, even enjoying the love and attention from a girl that doesn't belong to him. He takes a sip of coffee, but it tastes terrible for his demon taste. He then asks, your fiancé Lin Feng changed, didn't he? Do you want him to be the way he was? I know that also in the south there is an item that we can get along with the mission we are going to do. We can make him be who he was again. She's excited, asking if that's really possible. Poor girl, about to get used, abused, and discarded. He tells her of course, but his reflection in the mirror reveals his intentions. Then we see Lin Feng walking in the city. He knows that the story, in theory, hasn't even started yet. This is just like the introduction of the story. But he knows that Bai Chi Feng was not supposed to be alive in this part. The prophet thing is fine. He also died in the story. Then he thinks, calm down. What if he is the guy who kills the prophet, but then disappears in the story? In the original story, no one finds out how he died. But when I found him, strangely, he easily accepted to join my group. Someone who was supposed to have disappeared is now with me. Will this change the original end of the story? Because of my transmigration, a person who is supposed to leave ends up joining the important mission of finding the sealing item. I didn't think that it would be this troublesome if the storyline is getting out of hand. Then he looked to the side and saw his fiancée all happy talking with Bai Chi Feng. What are they doing? I'm the chosen one in this world, and I am the one with the omniscient viewpoint. I will obtain everything and crush those truckers. The next day, the whole group went to a meeting with the boss, and he is saying that it is extremely important that they get the sealing item, and that Lin Feng will lead this group. Now go and help humanity to solve this problem once for all. Both of them were thinking the same thing. Just you wait. Then we are in the middle of the battle with some creatures catching fire. The group is surrounded, but our demon lord is calmly dealing with everything while Lin Feng is doing his best to shine. Lin Feng says that those creatures are not strong, but they seem to be infinite. While our demon lord thinks, I can't believe I'm working with a human to kill demons. I must be crazy in my head. He looks to the side and smiles. A boy with a katana that utilizes the poison element is conjuring an area attack with a strike in the floor. The energy reaches the sky and consumes all the creatures that were present. Even our protagonist was thinking that this kid was not bad. Crazy Babe, of course, couldn't restrain herself after seeing a strong guy. But the guy is humble and says, I can only fight against hordes, so I'm pretty bad in one-on-one. Lin Feng, looking back, thinks that he was right. He turns to the group and says, I have something to tell all of you. The artifact is right ahead. However, the terrain is dangerous. We do not know what the monsters ahead are. From here will be even more risky. Why don't you go back to the city to rest and grab some items, while I'll just take a look ahead to see what is ahead of us. Obviously, no one in the group wants to accept, saying it's going to be very risky. But he gives a leader speech saying, as the one leading this party, it's my responsibility to find the safest path for us to move forward. I've already made my decision. No one will persuade me. Our protagonist just stares at him, while the other party members are thinking that Lin Feng is such a good captain that cares so much for his team. Looking back, Lin Feng thinks, all of this for you, Lu Shioka, the poison guy. A rising star born amidst the demon's lair and seasoned with poison. A future SS ranker whose name will shake the world. Right now we are just cooperating, but I know that in the original script you were the most trusted aide of the protagonist. You are an important part to success, and you followed him because he helped you to clean the toxins in your body with a bunch of high-grade items that created a purification potion. But in this world I will make this potion and turn you in my puppet. Lin Feng leaves, telling them to wait for him at the town. The Demon King sees that he doesn't know a lot about that guy, but he's sure that he isn't generous. Leah says she's going to an auction house in the city because she needs to get an important item, and will find everyone later. Crazy waifu says she's going with her. Leah is thinking, Bai Qin Feng, if it's like you said and that there's an item that can remove the soul of the demon inside him. I have to go to the auction and win the item that purges souls so I can bring back the real him. The guy with the bazooka tells them that now they should go back to rest as Lin Feng told them. Our protagonist only said hold on, and the frat boy went to his face asking if he was going to ignore the leader's orders. He faces our demon thinking, the young master doesn't like this guy, so I'm sure he's not a good person. Our demon lord says I'm extremely moved by his decision, but it's inevitable that I'm worried about him, because we don't secretly follow him just in case he's in danger. The two fools are impressed. True, we can do this instead of resting, and in that way we guarantee that the leader is safe. You're a good person too, by Qin Feng. These guys are kind of stupid, but stupider than them is the other one in front of him. He's really worried about Lin Feng. He's a good-hearted person, but he says, you guys are exaggerating. Everything I do is for the good of humanity. Leah saw that exchange of words before leaving and was even more convinced that he wanted the best for Lin Feng. But of course all that our demon wanted was to know the real intention of Lin Feng. The scene changes for the S-class dungeon, the malicious chessboard. Lin Feng is there and he remembers that according to the original book, the purification crystal, which in theory was for the protagonist to use in Lu Xiaoka, is in one part of this board. He just doesn't know exactly where. But suddenly he felt a chill in his spine and a sense of dread took over his body. He looked back and the king was coming for him. He tries to run away but he's about to be compressed. The king then uses a spiritual attack that tries to grab Lin Feng, but he defends with his sword. But the strike was strong and he was thrown far away and collided with the piece. Then he was about to get hit by a purple spirit holding a spear. He skillfully dodged, but the horse piece was running in his direction. He took out his S-class weapon that was named Horse Slashing Sword, quite fit for the task. But this horse is stronger than he anticipated, cause it just broke his sword with a bite. Countless vengeful spirits who had died on this chess board got their souls devoured by the chess pieces. They are forever confined in this place, and the cycle keeps repeating as the infinite battle goes on. These chess pieces have devoured so many hunters that they are far stronger than an S-class. Lin Feng knew instinctively that he couldn't win against that, so he used an item that gave him wings. He flew as fast as he could, but as soon as he reached halfway he saw the gigantic queen coming to slap him. It was impossible to dodge, and he got a direct hit that sent him back to the board. Upon opening his eyes he saw that he was surrounded by the queen and king. He realized that he wouldn't be able to escape. The king's hands came to grab him. He shrank out of fear, incredulous that him as a transmigrator would lose his life there. But suddenly the king's head was grabbed by a gigantic hand, and in the next second the whole chess piece was broken by our protagonist. The fool is on the floor looking all confused. He can't even see who's there fighting. The movements are too fast. The pieces are being destroyed and he doesn't even know what's going on. He got up and his friend came to assist him. The bazooka guy raises him asking, "Master, are you okay?" He says that he's fine but asks why they are here. His friend tells that Bai Qing Feng was worried about him and said he was going to follow you. That's why they were here, just to save him in case he was in danger. Angry Lu Xiaoka says, "You said you were just coming to take a look. Why did you get into a rank S dungeon? Good thing that Bai Qing Feng told us to follow you." At the moment Lin Feng was in disbelief. So the one that is killing all those pieces is Bai Qing Cheng? Standing there alone after the fight, a bunch of souls started to roam around our demon king. They were the souls of the hunter that were killed by the chess pieces. Funny enough, they were thanking him for saving them, without knowing that he was the demon king. The souls gave him the rare material, purification crystal. Upon seeing that, Lin Feng thought that this was the worst possible scenario. The demon king noticed how much he was looking at the crystal and understood that this was probably his intention this whole time. So he asked, "Do you want it?" "Too bad, because it's mine now." He's thinking, although I don't know his goal. If it's an item that he wants, it probably has a use for something. The big guy says, "Master, we were lucky to have Qin Feng here. It's good that we always work as a team with him." Lin Feng knew that he couldn't claim the crystal from our villain. It would be ridiculous to be saved and also ask for the item. With the size of his ego, that was out of question. So he suddenly shouted to everyone, "I don't need you guys. Don't worry about me." And then he ran to grab the next items. Even without the crystal, he could make a semi-finished potion that could also work. But looking at him so desperate, our demon said, "The more you try to hide, the more you reveal your motives. I'll keep an eye on what you're planning to do." Then we see the rank S dungeon, Dry Bones Lake, and our demon is there again with the item in his hands. Oops. "What's up, Lin Feng? We meet again. How are you?" He just got the 3-flame pill. Lin Feng was losing his mind. "It's you again." Once more the dungeon changed, but the result was the same. While Lin Feng was crying, our protagonist got the bone dragon scale. And again, He was shouting when his friend told him that if wasn't by Qing Feng he would be already dead. Looking at those items, the Demon King was confused. Those might be rare and valuable, but he doesn't look like someone short on money. What does he need these items for? Lu Xiuke went to talk with Qi Feng when he noticed the items in his hands. He instantly recognized that those were the rare materials that he had been searching for his whole life. He asked our demon if he could take a look at those items. Our protagonist raised his hands and suddenly the items started to refine by themselves. And after everything was combined, a S-class purification potion appeared. The Demon King was just staring while Lu Xiuke was trembling with tears in his eyes saying, "That's really the legendary S-class purification potion. I asked every high-class alchemist but none of them were able to make it." Our villain asked him, "Do you really need it? So take it then, cause I have no use for it." Lu Xiuke was sweating. He couldn't believe it. "Is this for real? You're just going to give it to me? Just like that?" Lu Xiuke knew, with this he would be able to completely purify the poison that has accumulated in his body over all these years. The demon was surprised when he saw Lu Xiuke hugging his leg, telling him how much of a good person he was and that from today on he would be his most loyal follower. The Demon King didn't know how to react. "Get away from me. Why are you so passionate when it's just a S-class potion?" Lu Xiuke's love was unstoppable. Seeing that the king didn't even ask for money, he was sure that Qing Feng was the most selfless person that he had ever met. Lin Feng, seeing everything from afar, was consumed by anger. Bai Qi Feng just did exactly what he wanted and got Lu Xiuke as his loyal dog. Our villain noticed that hatred towards him. Why does Lin Feng is looking so angry at me? Also, why the materials that he was looking for were the exact ones to make the potion that Lu Xiuke wanted. That's when everything clicked for him. He was trying to win Lu Xiuke over to his side, but I beat him without even knowing? This is plausible, but how did he know the locations of the items? This, together with the fact that he knew that Bai Qi Feng was dead, makes everything more suspicious. I will need to wait until Leah brings back the item. Lin Feng tried to keep his composure and told everyone to go back and rest. But inside he was about to burst. "Bai Qi Feng, you have been ruining my plans and I can't let that happen anymore." Sometime later in the hotel, Lin Feng had asked the bazooka guy to his room and bluntly told him, "Go kill Bai Qi Feng." The guy was taken aback. "But Mr. Bai saved you a few times and he's a good person." Lin Feng responded, "Just follow my instructions and don't ask too much. You have been by my side since I was young. Aren't you my most loyal servant?" Sweating, he responded, "Qi Feng's power is unfathomable. I'm sure that I'm not an opponent for him." But Lin Feng told him, "Can you use a forbidden technique to temporarily raise yourself to the legendary SS class for a short period?" The guy begged him, saying that this technique would cost years of his lifespan. He thought that the young master saw him as a member of the family. Lin Feng replied, "Don't you know I'm going to be the hero who obtains the sealing item? I'm carrying humanity's future on my back. Shouldn't you make a little sacrifice for humanity's future?" The guy was about to say something when he forfeited and said that he understood, saying, "I am willing to make that sacrifice not for humanity but to fulfill the oath I swore to you." Lin Feng thought that all of that was just nonsense. Our protagonist was in the town's garden facing a fountain when the water in front of him was moving in a strange way. Suddenly an ice crystal was launched against him. He was able to dodge but was uncertain of who was trying to assassinate him. Instantly a tempest of ice shards was launched. He knew that to freeze a whole pond in a second the person would need to be in SS class, and he doesn't remember to have offended someone of that caliber. The ice spell went straight to him, and it looked like he was killed in an instant. The bazooka guy appeared. With red eyes, he was under the effect of the SS class forbidden technique, consuming lifespan. But he heard something behind him, and when he looked, Bai Qi Feng was there with a single scratch in his face. But that was enough to put him in frenzy, saying, "How amazing, you are the first human to have ever injured me." They stared at each other for a second, but the Demon King said, "Yeah, you are the first one to ever hurt me, but you can only go so far." He had lost 1 health point from his 10 billion. The bazooka guy told him that out of respect he would kill him in one strike so he doesn't suffer too much. Bleeding, he replied, "Sure, I want to have a look at an SS class expert." But in a flash the blood that dropped from his face turned into a blade and almost cut his face. And he knew something. If even his blood that just leaked was frozen, that means he grabs his chest, knowing that everything inside him is about to stop. The guy told him that he was able to control all kinds of liquid, including the blood inside a human's body. But he noticed that Qing Feng blood was different. He couldn't control it perfectly. If that was the case, he would have to change methods. He used even more years from his lifespan to create a blue mana in his hands, and our protagonist recognized that as the mana the monster and demons uses. So he asked, "Aren't you afraid to go berserk with the use of that power?" but the guy shouted that it was for the young master and for the Lin family glory. A lightning lit up the dark night and gradually started to rain, but in the middle of the air those droplets of water were transformed into water blades that went straight to Qin Feng. His body was partially frozen so he couldn't dodge and had to take the attack head-on. The impact created a massive explosion and the enemy was confident that he was about to win. He poured a second sequence of blasts that froze the entire place. Upon seeing that he fell to his knees, feeling relief that it was finally over, but he intuitively knew that his life was also coming to an end. But a step was heard and when he lifted his head up he was confused. Qin Feng was fine and standing in front of him. He asked how was that possible. Our protagonist told him that it was quite incredible that he was able to reduce his HP to this extent. Over than 800,000 was taken. But at the same time for his 10 billion it wasn't that much and he said, now it's my turn, right? The guy still couldn't believe that was impossible. Qin Feng's hands covered his face and strangely he felt a sense of ease and said, just kill me cause I won't be able to live long anyway. My long-cherished wish to sacrifice myself for the Lin family is going to be complete. The Demon King told him, even if I don't do anything you would die. That's the price of the after effects of using the forbidden technique. The guy said that he knew so he begged for him to make it quickly. But he soon realized that he was being healed and couldn't understand. For the protagonist, killing this guy would only make things more complicated. But for that guy the way he interpreted that was completely different. For him the legendary Qin Feng was showing mercy in an extent that he had never imagined. The most pure selfless. He just tried to kill the guy but here he is saving his life. To avoid suspicions the Demon King told him that he was moved by his pure loyalty for the Lin family and that's why he was saving him. Even more because he knew that behind a tree Leah was observing everything. She also came to the same conclusion. Qin Feng is the most kind and gentle being that she had ever met. It was the first time she saw someone so strong yet so upright. Qin Feng gave him a hand to help him get up saying that, if he was afraid of not being able to explain to his master what happened he could pretend to be injured. That was something that the guy never imagined that he would hear so he instantly asked how he could repay such kindness. Without an answer the guy left, and now our protagonist just had to deal with Leah. He pictured that from her point of view he was appearing way too strong. So he fell to his knees with his hands over his chest agonizing in pain. Seeing that Leah went running to help him, she grabbed his body asking what happened to him. While he was clenching his teeth he was thinking, she fell for it. She helped him to get up saying that she knew that he was hurt. It is impossible to take such attack head on and be uninjured. He asked her why she was there, and if she had obtained the potion that can restore souls. She told him that she had gotten it because there was no family richer than hers in the auction. The only problem was the guilty. She knew that if she gave that potion to him it would make it look like she didn't believe Lin Feng. It would be even worse if his isn't possessed. Randomly drinking a potion could harm his body. Suddenly our tricky boy did a lewd attack. He touched her face, looked in her eyes and said, you are so beautiful that maybe his objective is only you, and that's why I'm worried by your safety. Leah got flustered and asked, you really think I'm beautiful? Inside she was filled with something strange. It was the first time that a compliment from Guy made she felt flattered instead of repulsed. Our offensive king told her, I know that you and Lin Feng are engaged but I'm still worried. I don't wish to see you get hurt. She showed him the potion and stuttering her words she said that she got it. Her heart was beating fast and that being the first time that felt that way she suddenly ran, saying that she would make him drink the potion. He told her that now he can rest assured, but for him, greed, obsession, jealousy, apathy, and of course lust. Humans are easy to manipulate. But this was perfect for him, cause the most loyal servant of Lin Feng was overhearing everything, and now was also questioning. Young Master Lin Feng is not his original self anymore. In the dinner Lu Xieka was asking Lin Feng where Qin Feng and Gao Hu were. Lin Feng told him that there's no reason to wait for them and they should just eat first. Then he looked at Leah and said, I explored the dungeons around here and I'm already familiar. You can rest assured and follow me. With a dark face she agreed. Looking at the soup she thought, I just have to make Lin Feng drink this to make sure whether Qin Feng's presumption is correct. She took the soup to Lin Feng and told him, I heard you got hurt 2 days ago so I made some medicine to replenish your health. He thanked her and went with his hands to do a grip training in her gluteus maximus, saying that he would treat her nicely. She was shy and boiling. I thought that she would have felt disgusted but girls in this world seemed to be all crazy as truck. But with that she knew that he wasn't the real Lin Feng, the guy that was always passive and timid and didn't even dare to confess to her properly. Maybe Mr. Qin Feng is right, she told him to get off, and he was asking if something happened when Gao Hu suddenly entered the room. Lin Feng was smiling. If he survived and came back, that means that the job is done. He got up and to talk to him. You're finally back. I was so worried about you. Gao Hu told him, young master, to fulfill your request I had to sacrifice 20 to 30 years of my lifespan. Lin Feng told him that it was fine. If the mission was accomplished, that sacrifice meant nothing, but in the future he would definitely treat him well. But his expressions changed when he saw Bai Qingfeng entering the room. That smile right at his face saying, why are you so surprised to see me alive? Gao Hu went to whisper something in Lin Feng's ears that suddenly pushed him back and told him that he was a trash hole. At that moment Leah went running to Bai Qingfeng, telling him to be careful because Lin Feng was acting really strange as he told her. Lin Feng's expression was deformed as he told her, Leah, you are my fiancé. What are you doing? Lu Xiaoke and Tian Tian were also gossiping about how Lin Feng was acting strange lately. He stared at his loyal follower and told him that it was all his fault for failing his job. Gao Hu didn't want to believe. The young master that he remembered was always compassionate towards his servants. Maybe his body really was taken by somebody, and if that's the case, that means that the real young master is in danger. Tian Tian asked Lu Xiaoke, if they start fighting, who are you going to help? Xiaoke was confused. He asked, who is fighting who? Gao Hu, that seems to know everything about the plan, took the soup and went to Lin Feng saying, young master, I failed my mission, so I won't stop you from hitting me. But Leah made this soup to help you recover, so please drink your medicine to avoid any extra risks to your health. Lin Feng took the soup all out of his hand, saying that he was trash and all that he could do was work as an attendant. He drank the soup thinking, since I'm in front of everyone, I will at least pretend to be in good terms with him. In a second a vein bulged from his throat and face. The soup fell to floor and the real Lin Feng's soul was shouting at him, saying that the one they really care is him. Everyone in the room was stunned. Xiaoke asked if the captain was okay and with who he was talking to. From above the Demon King stared at him saying, now hurry and make a big scene, the bigger the better. Although you are the only one who knows the location of the sealing artifact, you can't prevail over me. Inside Lin Feng's head a fight was taking place between the souls. He was hitting and throwing everything in the room. He ran scared that people would discover that he is not the real one. Leah and Gao Hu were confused. They knew that something was wrong with Lin Feng, had no way to change it. Tian Tian and the demon were smiling at each other. For a brief moment the real Lin Feng retook control of the body and wrote a letter. I'm Lin Feng, the real Lin Feng, the useless Lin Feng. My soul that has come from another world is going to disappear soon because I'm unable to reoccupy my body. Maybe this is the only time I can have ownership of this body. Given this chance, need to leave behind something useful. Something like the trump card of this bastard who came from another world. In his memory there's a novel called The Hero Defeats the Demon King. It tells about the things that will happen to this world in the future. Since I have memorized everything in the novel, I will leave it with someone I can trust. The story starts with a genius young man. His name Li He. He will become a hero in the future. The protagonist of this story. The first time Li He leaves his hometown, he unintentionally kills a hopeless trash that runs blindly at the tavern's entrance. That trash's name is called Lin Feng. Due to this incident, Li He angers the Lin family. Just like that, Li He experiences countless dangers. In the end, before the first snowflake falls, the chosen one, Li He, kills the Demon King. Looking from the memory of this soul from another world, objectively, that young man named Bai Qingfeng is righteous and kind. I am going to send out this novel. If Bai Qingfeng succeeds in defeating this soul from another world, he will receive this letter once he returns to the Association HQ. By that time, Mr. Bai will be able to use this novel to assist the novel's real protagonist, save this world, and defeat the Demon King. This might be the only great thing I've done throughout my trashy life. After that, Lin Feng's real soul seemed to have left his body, and when the fake Lin Feng woke up he knew that things were getting out of control and he needed to get rid of everyone tomorrow. Next day they were inside the 10,000 Demons Cave SS class dungeon. Tian Tian said, as expected from a dungeon with a divine items fragment hidden inside. To think I have the chance to see an SS class dungeon. On the top of a ladder Lin Feng was finally able to reach what he had been dreaming about. The divine item was in his reach. But Leah and Gao Hu had a plan. She told him to get ready to move. They were going to snatch it but shouldn't hurt him. But as soon as he touched the item he attacked his team with his power amplified. Gao Hu asked what he was doing, why he was acting like that. But he told them that he knew that they had been planning. They should just die quiet in this SS dungeon. With all of them killed no one would doubt his identity anymore. He ran to the exit, and a swarm of monsters was falling from above. Everyone wanted to fight for their lives, but our protagonist told them to run. He would hold back those monsters. Tian promptly helped him to convince everyone to not waste his sacrifices. She was happy and smiling, hoping that the Demon King would kill the imposter. The Demon King closed the door, and now it was only him and his devotees inside the room. He told them, "Long time no see, my followers." But the creatures were about to strike him. He felt disrespected. Did they forget who is the king of this place? He punched some of the creatures, but they kept swarming him, so he released all his powers and once more asked, "Do you remember?" Then all the monsters were kneeling in front of him. He told all of them that now was time to siege Lin Feng and give him a slow and painful death.
And do you remember that the last chapter ended with the fight between our Demon King and the guy with the bazooka? Our villain was scared because his face had been hurt for the first time, and the guy responded that out of respect for him, he would kill him without letting him feel much pain. However, he had lost only 1 HP out of the 10 billion he had. Since the enemy had no idea about this, he kept insisting that it would be a painless death. But the Demon King simply replied that he wanted to see these so-called abilities of an incredible rank S. However, in an instant when a drop of blood fell on his face, it turned into a piece of ice, and it almost made him get cut again. The Demon King was impressed that something like this ended up happening. He grabbed his own chest, knowing that it seemed like everything was about to freeze. And the guy warned that he could control any liquid, including those inside the human body. However, even so, he noticed that Qin Feng's blood was different and couldn't be controlled perfectly. If that was the case, he would have to change his methods. And then he burned even more years of his life to bring a blue mana to his hand. Seeing the situation, Qin Feng asked the guy if he wasn't afraid of going mad by doing that. But he just warned that he was doing all this for the Lin family and their glory. The whole sky darkened with clouds and it started to rain. But in midair, the drops turned into blades and went towards the protagonist. His body was partially frozen, so he couldn't dodge and had to take the attack head-on. The impact created a massive explosion and the enemy was confident that he had now won. He attacked with another sequence that froze the entire place. As soon as he finished, he fell to his knees, feeling relieved that it was finally over. However, instinctively, he also felt that his life was ending. But then he heard a step and raised his head, confused. Bai Qin Feng was standing calmly right in front of him. That made him wonder how it was possible. Our protagonist said it was incredible that he managed to reduce his HP so much. It was just a pity that for the 10 billion he had, it was insignificant. Then he told the guy that now was his turn. He couldn't believe it. To him, it was impossible. Qin Feng covered his face and replied that he wanted to die to feel a sense of relief. He wouldn't be able to continue much longer anyway, so it didn't matter. His eternal desire to sacrifice himself for the Lin family was finally about to be fulfilled. The Demon King said he knew that even if he did nothing, the guy would die. That would be the price for using so many forbidden techniques. The guy said he already knew that and told him to kill him quickly. However, he suddenly realized he was being healed. For Bai Qin Feng, killing that guy would only complicate things. But the fool interpreted it completely differently. To him, the boy was showing a mercy he never imagined. He was a selfless person who wouldn't even kill those who tried to take his life. To disguise, Qin Feng said he wouldn't kill him because he admired the pure loyalty he showed to the Lin family. But the big truth was that Laya was just behind a tree, watching everything. And that scene made her come to the same conclusion as the guy with the bazooka. Bai Qin Feng was one of the kindest people she had ever met in her life. It was the first time she had seen someone so strong and so righteous at the same time. With that, Qin Feng helped the guy and said he would pretend to be hurt so the guy's master wouldn't suspect anything. The guy replied that he would never know how to repay such kindness. With that, he left and now our boy had to talk to Leah. From her perspective, he was probably too strong. So he fell to his knees and put his hand on his chest, pretending to be in agony. Leah immediately ran to help him. She grabbed him and asked what had happened. While he pretended to be in pain, he said she had fallen for the trick. While she helped, she thought it was obvious he was hurt. It was impossible for someone to take such a massive attack and not get hurt at all. With that, he asked why she was there and if she managed to get the soul-restoring potion. She said yes, because there was no family richer than hers at that auction. The only problem was the guilt. To her, giving that potion felt like not trusting her friend. The worst part would be if he really wasn't possessed. Drinking a potion like that randomly could end up hurting his body. However, our slave boy made a bold move. He touched her face and looked deeply into her eyes to say that she was so beautiful and that his only goal was her. That's why he needed to go so far to ensure her safety. Embarrassed and blushing, Laya asked if he really thought she was that beautiful. However, inside, she had a strange feeling. It was the first time a man's compliment made her feel moved instead of disgusted. Our protagonist said he would respect her because he knew she was still with that guy. However, he couldn't help but be very worried and didn't want to see her get hurt. With that, she showed the potion and stumbling with her words said she got what he wanted. But strangely, her heart was beating too fast and she suddenly fled, saying she would make him drink the potion. Bai said she didn't need to worry. But to him, feelings like greed, envy, apathy, and obviously lust were the things he could manipulate most easily. And the best part was that the most important servant of the guy was also listening to everything and started to wonder if his master really wasn't who he seemed to be anymore. At dinner, Xiao was asking Feng where Bai and Gao Hu were. He said they shouldn't wait for them and told them to start eating right away. He looked at Lai Ya, said he explored all the dungeons around and she could rest assured that he would take care of her. With a darkened face, she agreed. Then, looking at the soup, she said to herself that she had to make Feng drink it. She then offered the soup to Lin Feng, saying she heard he got hurt, so she prepared it to help him recover. He thanked her and squeezed a bun and made the poor girl recover. The bastard even said he would treat her very well. She tried to hide her emotion, but all she felt was disgust at the situation. However, it also confirmed to her that this wasn't the real Feng. The real one was always more shy and passive and would never do something like that. Maybe Bei was really right, and that's why she told him to take his hand away. He was going to ask if something happened when suddenly Gohu entered the room. When Feng saw him, he was already smiling because if the guy survived, he was sure the Dan Bei was dead. He stood up and said he was worried about the guy. Then Gohu said that to complete this task, he had to sacrifice 30 years of his life. Feng just replied that it was okay. If the mission was completed, the sacrifice meant nothing, but he could rest assured that he would be well taken care of until the day he died. However, his expression changed when Bai entered the room. Bai smiled in Feng's direction and asked why he seemed so surprised to see him alive. Gohu went to say something in Feng's ear, but the guy just pulled him away and called him trash. At that moment, Leia ran towards the protagonist and told him to be careful because Feng was acting strange. Feng looked at his servant and said that all this was happening because he failed in his task. It was then that Gohu began to realize the young master he remembered had always been kind to his servants. Maybe his body really had been taken over by someone else. And if that's the case, it means the real young master is in danger. Chanchin asked what Seok would do if the two started fighting. Gohu, who already knew the plan, took the soup and told Lin Feng to drink it. He apologized for not being able to complete the mission, but asked the master to drink it so he could recover. However, Feng just replied that the guy was trash and not even fit to be a servant. It was then that he realized he was hated by everyone and decided to drink it so no one would suspect him anymore. Suddenly, some veins began to appear on his throat and face, and the real Lin Feng appeared. Everyone in the room was confused and Seok asked what was happening, while Bai just looked and said that the more chaos he caused, the better it would be. Even though the guy was the only one who knew where the seal was, there was no way he could win. In Feng's mind, the souls were fighting to take control of the body. He was kicking and throwing everything around the room. Then he suddenly ran away, afraid that people would discover he wasn't the real one. Liya and Gohu were confused. They knew something was wrong with Lin Feng, but they had no way to change it. While the wicked Chanchin and the Demon King were smiling at each other. For a brief moment, the real Lin Feng took control of the body again and wrote a letter. In the letter, he said he was the real Lin Feng whom everyone considered a useless person. His soul would soon disappear from this world because he couldn't regain control of the body. This was the only opportunity he had to leave a trump card against the person who stole his body from another world. He said that in the memory of this guy, there is a story about a hero who defeats a Demon King. It also talks about everything that will happen in this world, and he has already memorized it. He said that from what he could see in Qin Feng's eyes, the boy named Bai is the salvation of humanity for being so righteous and kind. He will send this letter to the association, which will return it to Bai himself. That way, Bai will know the future to be able to save this world. After that, the true soul of Lin Feng took control of the body again. He knew things were getting out of control, so he would have to get rid of everyone tomorrow. In the morning, everyone went to the cave of 10,000 demons. At the entrance, Chanchin was impressed since that place was rank SS. Running towards the stairs, Feng was close to achieving what he had always been dreaming of. The divine item was within his reach. Gohu and Leia told each other that they had to stop Feng, but they couldn't hurt him. However, as soon as he touched the item, his power was amplified and he attacked the group. Gohu asked what he was doing and why he was acting like that, but Feng only replied that he knew their plan so they should die silently in that place. If everyone there disappeared, no one would doubt his identity anymore. He ran to leave while a horde of monsters was coming towards them. Everyone wanted to stay and fight, but Bai just told them to run while he held them off. The group seemed hesitant, but Tianqian told them to go quickly and not waste Bai's sacrifice. Of course, she was happy and smiling because she knew the king had a plan to kill the imposter. The Demon King closed the room, and now it was just him and the devouts inside that place. He told them that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. However, the creatures were about to attack. He felt disrespected, wondering if they had forgotten who the king of this place was. He punched a few, but they kept attacking him. With that, he released part of his power and asked if they had forgotten. In a second, all the monsters kneeled. He said it was now time to finish Feng and give him a slow and painful death. Running through the dungeon, Feng knew that the item had been forged with a blood contract, so no one would take it from him. He was finally becoming the hero he had always dreamed of. But suddenly, he saw something in front of him. There was a legion of demons and someone on top of one of them. The Demon King himself greeted Feng. He didn't know who that guy was, only that he was very frightening. Seeing the exit just above, all he needed to do was escape that place and become the hero. But then the Demon King just said to kill him and take the divine fragment. The creatures attacked Feng. However, the first monster was easily defeated. He continued jumping from one to another, trying to get closer to the ceiling. But in midair, he was about to be bitten. He managed to dodge and step on a skeleton's head. At that moment, the Demon King said he would have to get a bit more serious then. A creature bit Feng's leg. He turned around, attacking it and telling it to let go. However, another one was already approaching from the side. He turned, startled, trying to defend himself. But boy oh boy, he'd almost became toast. Or rather, not quite. He activated his angel wings and managed to escape, sacrificing his leg. He swore to himself that he would get out of this place no matter what. He started flying towards the exit. The Demon King just said it was excellent and there was no reason to keep him alive. Once again, a monster bit one of his limbs. He slashed at it, telling it to let go. But another one bit his waist and another his arm. He kept attacking, trying to get rid of them. He was about to escape, so he still had hope. However, the Demon King said that death is always more brutal when people dream of living. Feng was right near the edge and about to see the sun. He was going to make it out, survive, and become the hero he always dreamed of. But then something caught his attention. The Demon King was already up there, just waiting for him. Our boy just said that he wouldn't escape from there. As Feng realized that the guy was just toying with his life, suddenly the entire cave was surrounded by a barrage of fire. Feng ended up being hit by the debris, and along with the remnants of that place, he fell below. He was buried under everything and someone approached. It was our dear Bai, but something seemed to block him. Looking at his own hand, he realized that the divine fragment seemed to reject him. From the ground, Feng laughed, saying that it looked like Bai was there to take something, but warned that the divine fragment had already sealed a contract with him, so it was impossible to obtain it even if he died. That made Bai frown because he didn't know it was a forged contract. Then suddenly, the other soul appeared. She seemed to look at Bai for a second, turned to the fake Feng and said she wouldn't let him become the hero of this world and would go to hell with him. Bai concluded that perhaps the true soul was appearing, since the main body was badly injured. The real Feng began to pull the divine item. When he was due, he was trying to release the item's contract. As soon as he finished, the item began to float in a state where it had no owner. Feng started cursing the true soul, calling it trash and saying that's why it lived like a pig and died at the beginning of the novel. However, the true soul just said that the fake one was vicious and cruel and would bring disasters to this world. Bai wasn't concerned with all this drama, but rather with the divine item. The direction of everything seemed very strange to him. He was about to form a contract with the seal that would be used to stop the Demon King. From the ground, Feng told Bai not to get too excited, and warned him not to kill him, otherwise his family would chase him to the ends of the earth. He pulled out his blade, saying he was sure something was wrong with that medicine. However, as soon as he returned to the association, he was going to kill everyone there. But then he felt something strange. The true soul had attacked itself, and the body responded in kind. Bai was startled, asking what she was doing, and the soul said she wouldn't let a corrupt person keep using her body like this. She looked at Bai and said that now the entire world was in his hands to be saved. Our protagonist was even scared by that. That soul had too much motivation and courage to really be someone everyone considered trash. Feng's soul disappeared with a smile, saying that disappearing along with evil is a heroic death. With that, she vanished into the air while Feng on the ground said he didn't accept this outcome. With his eyes rolling back, he said it wasn't possible for it to end like this. The scene shifts to the city where an announcement about the acquisition of the divine item is being made, and everyone must salute the hero who made it possible, Bai Qinfeng. He was now the savior of humanity. Meanwhile, at the center of the association, Yahello was telling all the hunters how nice and good-hearted Bai Qinfeng was. Even Gelbu was there, saying he never imagined meeting such an honest person who always seeks the truth. Even Liu was there, saying it's hard to believe there's a guy as handsome and righteous as he is. To all the hunters, Bai Qinfeng was like the protagonist of that world, the kind of person born to be a savior. Chanshan tells the Demon King that the association decided to exclude Lin Feng's name from the participation and leave all the glory and achievement to Bai. Everyone in that world was sharing his heroic story and believing he would be the savior who would kill the Demon King. He smiled, saying that the glory wasn't his but Bai Qinfeng's, the poor soul who was murdered in Chapter 2. However, the true Feng's act of heroism lingered in Bai's mind. To him, it was ridiculous that a person with a true sense of heroism had his body taken by a cowardly hypocrite. Suddenly, he turned and Tianshan asked where he was going. He said he had to pay a certain price since he wasn't the type of person who liked owing favors. In the meeting, a guy from the association said that the soul the woman invoked was the trash who died. The person responded that it didn't matter. She could continue bringing souls from another world. She preferred to put the souls in a trash body because then no one cared if that person suddenly changed. She's the woman who takes anyone to another world, in this case literally and not literally, and you get it, right? The head of the association asked if she didn't think it was unfair that the person lost their body and soul and still died in the end. The woman said he was too indecisive since it was for the good of humanity and most people, and if he wanted to think that way, it was also unfair for the person brought from another world to disappear from where they came from. Instead of living a peaceful life somewhere else, they appear here, forced to live a life of wars. That's why the summoners share false stories with other worlds to make them believe they're being summoned as heroes from somewhere. That way, when they're brought over, they strive to the maximum, and if they die, no one remembers them. That made the leader hesitate for a second, and boy, I'm like him. Basically, they write a fake novel to make the guys think they're the protagonist when they arrive. With no choice, the head of the association said it really was a good plan. It's just a pity that the great prophet dies, so he won't help her write new stories. Suddenly, he started transforming, saying that she would die too. Realizing he was changing shape, she asked who he was. No, he killed the entrance to another world that I liked so much. and Bai responded that he was just a person who didn't like following the script of these stories. Boy, he created a cave in the middle of the mountains. While she was writhing in agony, she asked why she was killed. Bai said that an idiot handed this item to him as a sacrifice. He knew the real Feng was killed in this world because she brought another person into his body, so he came for revenge. At that moment, a wizard entered the room and said that the great summoner was dead. People run around in panic while Bai wonders what to do next. Humanity no longer has a way to bring heroes, and he also has an item to complete the seal. The question remains whether he should return to the Demon Tower. Suddenly, the receptionist girl arrives and says she has a letter for him. He is confused and takes it in his hand. As soon as he opens it, he sees it's huge and seems to contain an entire story. As he begins to read, he realizes it's a novel. He knows this is probably what the prophets used to bring people to this world. So he started reading the letter that the real Feng wrote while he had control of his body. In it, Feng expressed hope that Bai would become the protagonist of this world and defeat the Demon King. However, it was there that he discovered that the real protagonist had not yet appeared and that Feng was just a useless character. The real problem he would have to face was someone named Lai He. And just as the prophet said, when the snow falls, the chosen one named Lai, he will kill the Demon King. If that was the case, he would have to stay in this world and deal with this so-called genius. The scene shifts to an underwater battle. A fin monster attacks and a guy dodges. He easily lands an electric attack on the monster's forehead. He gets off the creature and returns to the group. Everyone is excited, saying it's incredible that he killed a rank C creature so easily. The group says he can keep all the items, but he says it's not necessary. The right thing is for everyone to always share to become stronger. The blonde guy asks if Lai He wants to form a group with them, but he replies that he doesn't trust anyone and doesn't want any allies. All he needs is to keep completing the system's quests. Here's Lai He, who came from a common city in the countryside. Half a month ago, this system window suddenly appeared to him. Every day, he receives new missions and amazing rewards. Today's task was to strengthen his body tenfold. People from a distance say he's crazy and always making these strange poses. Like the protagonist of every story, only he can see the systems and missions. But he's sure he needs to stay cautious and level-headed. It will still take quite some time, but the moment will eventually come. Then the receptionist girl tells Bai that they found the person he asked her to find. He asks if she's talking about Lai He and asks her to show him. On the way, she says it's a pleasure and he asks what season they are in. The woman replies that they are in spring. Lai He arrived at the association, introduced himself and said he wanted to join. The woman replied that his level was still too low and he would have to join another group. Lai He was already very strong, but his ranks hadn't been updated yet. He decided to go back and strengthen himself when someone tapped him on the shoulder. It was our dear Bai who said he seemed promising and asked if he wanted to join a group. But Lai He just replied that he didn't need allies. He quickly left, saying he didn't want any help with the missions either. He knew he had to join another group for now, get stronger, and then come back here. That's when the system appeared. His mission was to join the association today and receive 10 times the magical power. If he refused or failed, that mission would never appear again. He was unsure since it was important, and 10 times more magical power was a lot. The receptionist girl said the boy seemed to be daydreaming, but Bai remembered that Lin Shao from the first chapter acted the same way. Meanwhile, elsewhere, someone was taking a taxi. He got in and told the driver to go as fast as possible to the Hunters Association. The old man was about to ask if he knew the great hero Bai Qinfeng, but the other guy just told him to shut up and drive. This person in the taxi reincarnated from the future to the past. He needs to prevent his own death in this timeline. Today is the day he will join the Hunters Association, but he needs to stop it. This is actually the future Lai He, who already knows he was killed by Bai Qinfeng, and that the Dan Bai is actually the Demon King. Back at the association, Lai He had already registered. This was because he joined as part of Bai Qinfeng's group. With that, the mission to increase his magical power tenfold was complete. He concluded that maybe the system was right to make him join the best team. With open arms, he felt he had gained more power in an instant than in the past month. While the receptionist asked what the guy was doing, Tianxian said that apparently he had some kind of teenage craziness. Bai Qinfeng said he had information about the second seal, so they would start hunting now. As he passed by, the girls said he was amazing and always had a perfect plan. He felt a bit embarrassed because, in truth, he had no information at all. He just wanted to kill Lai He in some random dungeon. The problem was that it was hard to get out of the crowd, which was asking for a bunch of autographs and wondering if he would protect them. Bai was turning red. He needs to take people to an easy place to kill, especially because outside the tower, he doesn't have the infinite life buff. But this crowd of people is starting to make him feel a bit shy. The scene shifts to an abandoned place outside the city. Bai Qinfeng's entire group is already there, including Lai He. Bai tells everyone not to walk alone at night because there are many powerful creatures around since few humans come to this place. He informs them that the men will stay in one room and the women in another, and they will take turns keeping watch. Suddenly, the system activates something for Lai He. He seems confused by what appeared. The mission usually appears in the middle of the day, but this time it appeared at midnight. This time he has to go to a dungeon 3 kilometers away and receive an S-rank potion. The problem is, it's an A-rank dungeon and he isn't strong enough yet. However, the lure of an S-rank potion is very tempting. He gets up, saying he's going out for a bit. He knows that so far the system has only helped him, so he needs to keep strengthening himself. While the brute complains that he should follow Bai's orders, he says he'll be back before dawn. He needs to follow a different path from everyone else, even if it means being criticized. The people in the team start saying that this is the problem with bringing in an amateur, but Bai says it's okay, maybe the guy has something personal to deal with and he'll surely come back fine. The scene shifts to the A-rank dungeon, the Paradox stage. There, he just needs to find the puppet that the system mentioned. Suddenly, the puppet with a red aura appears behind him. He turns around startled because it was so sudden, and manages to protect himself at the last moment. After the first attack, she does a backflip and retreats. However, he realized that his arm was destroyed with a single blow, and the puppet advances once again. Lai is forced to retreat and try to dodge. As long as she's this strong, his chances are nil. He ends up being cornered with no place to escape. The lava field is right behind him, and he wonders if the system made a mistake sending him there. Meanwhile, future Lai, he arrives at the association and starts asking where Lai went. The receptionist, frightened, says she can't give out any information about the association. The guy turns around angrily. If he's already registered and isn't there, there's only one place he could have gone. If he doesn't hurry, he'll end up dying without even knowing why. That's because this timeline's lie, he won't be able to guess one crucial detail: the true identity of the system master. The people in Bai's team are all asleep while he is controlling something from the table. He is the one manipulating the puppet, ensuring no one suspects him. He created that system window and orchestrated for Lai to fall into that trap. The Demon King himself has a control center where he can assign missions to people, and he says this false hero won't survive the night. We see a bit after he killed Lin Feng and returned to his castle. His plan was to wait for Lai to appear. But inside the throne room, the system was broken on the floor. He crouched down and picked up a fragment. He knew that this was what made the hero Lai's shell extremely strong, so it must be valuable. He reconstructed the system, which now recognized him as the new master. He ordered the system to somehow bring Lai to him. The system said it understood and would bring him in half a month. Staring at the chair, the king said that the remains of the hero Lai's shell existed there. He believed all others would be like him, intelligent, brave, and selfless. It was only then that he discovered that the number of heroes who would reach him was extremely scarce. However, he said that his younger brother named Feng was, in the end, a true hero just like him. And with that, he abandoned the lonely throne once again. The scene advanced to half a month later at Lai's house. He woke up suddenly to a strange sound. That's when he saw the system window and wondered if he was hallucinating. It was actually the Demon King's false system that congratulated him and asked if he wanted the chance to become stronger. Of course, he smiled, thinking that's where it all began. Back in the dungeon, Lai screamed that he would get stronger at that moment. He attacked the puppet, saying he knew he was the true chosen one. His fist aimed at the blade. He told himself he had to trust the system and not give up. It was all he needed. If he didn't give up, he would get stronger. But boy, he took an it to the stomach. Yet the madman was motivated and grabbed the puppet's arm, stretching his arm, saying he would destroy her. With that, he managed to throw her to the ground, saying it was over. Bai was impressed that he had broken the puppet's control. He really had potential and should have done something of S-rank. This so-called true protagonist from the Prophet was something different. If he didn't take care of this guy, there was a chance he'd become another Lai Xiao. However, his chances of surviving would end there. He had gone too eagerly for power and now lost the chance to get stronger. Li Xiao threw the sword aside while writhing in agony. The problem was that he had received the S-rank potion from the system. Then someone approached and picked up the sword from the ground. Lai looked to the side. It was the Demon King, who asked why he seemed so distracted. Lai had no idea who this person was, but he knew he couldn't defeat him. In a second, he was thrown to the ground. The future Lai had returned to the association, saying he needed an urgent teleport. He needed to rush and get there as fast as possible. After all, he knew very well what was going to happen. Meanwhile, in the association meeting, the elders commented that this Lai was the child of the prophecy. However, he had grown too fast. The leader below said he was much stronger than he should be at this point in time. 3 chairs were already empty, and the future was changing a lot from what it should be. The leader of the association said that only the 4 elders there could save humanity. A person with pink hair said those 3 seats didn't deserve the position they had. The immortal died, and the prophet couldn't see the future. And in addition, the summoner called upon someone useless. But he said they didn't need to worry. Because of Lai, he was truly the child of prophecy. Nothing mattered. He could make mistakes as much as he wanted, and he would always have a chance to restart. The head of the association asked if he was going to grant the right to reincarnate. The guy said that if Lai had failed in this timeline, there should already be 2 of him, as an elder can affect the future of another. If 3 had already died, he had probably acted in the future. Face to face with Lai, the Demon King told him to die. Lai dodged, rolling away just in time, knowing he had no chance. He tried to retreat, as it was the only way to stay alive. However, the Demon King wouldn't let him escape so easily and continued chasing him over the pillars. But a slash came close and he almost died. That's when he noticed something. He realized that somehow he wasn't the target. Strangely, he was always able to dodge and the whole place was being destroyed. Most of the pillars had been broken. He landed on one of the last remaining, realizing there was no more escape. There was no place left to retreat to. Now the Demon King didn't even need to kill him, just destroy the last pillar. He would fall into the lava. In the blink of an eye, the Demon King approached. The king said he wouldn't give him the chance to have an attribute like fire resistance. The only way he would be satisfied was by killing the boy with his own hands. He already knew the boy had a heart on the right side that saves his life. That's why he would slice him up as much as possible to ensure he dies. Lai he had no idea how he knew all these details, but was certain there was no escape. He wondered if it was because he evolved too quickly or too slowly. When the blade was about to cut him in half, suddenly the Demon King stopped and said it was the worst timing possible. Leah had entered the room and called for him. She said they received information about an SS-ranked dungeon with artifacts nearby. With that, the Demon King's puppet disintegrated in front of Lai. He fell to the ground, thinking he had barely escaped. At the same moment, everyone in the room got up, saying this was an incredible chance for them to get stronger. Bai said it was a pity he didn't kill him, but this would be the perfect place to finish the boy. At the association, the girl said they found a teleport and asked where he wanted to go. Lai said he wanted to go to the recently discovered SS-ranked dungeon. He knew it was there that had a divine fragment and where he had died last time. In this life, he would not only kill the Demon King, but also obtain that fragment. The next morning, he was standing in front of the window. Yesterday's mission had been too difficult, and he almost lost his life. Immediately after, he received a mission that would lead him straight to S rank. He got excited because he needed to get stronger. But he knew it wouldn't be easy, so he had to be cautious. If he continued accelerating the process, he might die. When he was about to refuse, the system kept increasing the rewards, delivering more and more items and attribute multipliers. The system wouldn't stop, and obviously his greed started to grow. Seeing that pile of windows, he knew that once he finished this, he would become virtually invincible. This was the solution he had been looking for. This way he wouldn't have to train for years, but could skip the entire process. If that was the case, he had to accept. He really was the chosen one of this world. Outside, everyone was waiting for him, saying they were going to hunt a fragment. But Lai he just said he wouldn't stay with them anymore because he had things to resolve. Chanshin stepped in front, saying he couldn't act like this and had to start following Bai Qinfeng's rules. But he just told her to get out of the way because he had things to resolve. The whole group cursed him as he said he wouldn't obey this team anymore. Meanwhile, Bai just called upon the system. And at that moment, Lai received a warning for mistreating a female teammate. He would need to apologize to Chanshin and act like a dog 3 times for her. Doing so, he would receive an S-rank weapon or lose the entire system. Not only was the reward tempting, but the punishment was ridiculous. He wondered if the system was so strict that just bumping into a female teammate would result in such a punishment. While he agonized over this, Bai Qinfeng was enjoying watching it all. Everyone in the team started telling Lai to apologize to Chanshin, and he knew he couldn't lose all the system's rewards over something so stupid. So obviously, he fell to his knees and started barking at her. He banged his head on the ground, saying he knew he was wrong and begging for forgiveness. The team was a bit confused by this sudden change, and he was there imitating a dog while the girls said he was already overdoing it. Then the system said it was complete, he would receive an S-rank weapon. Now all he wanted to do was disappear from this place and never see anyone from this team again. Leah told him not to worry, that he was strange, but Chanshin said it seemed he recognized his mistakes. But Chanshin wasn't kind and was smiling at someone in particular. Bai was just observing all this happen. The scene changed to inside the SS-ranked dungeon, but there was already someone inside. Future Lai, he was standing there knowing very well why this dungeon was so difficult to conquer. The difficulty of this place is because it creates a copy of yourself at this moment in time. But in this timeline, the copy of Lai, he was much weaker than him. Only he from the future could defeat his past self, especially since he knew all the combat techniques and had prepared to fight against the S-rank gauntlets. The clone tried to punch, but he easily dodged, and with that, he landed a blow from behind. The dungeon mission was easily a success. The replica was undone, and he realized what it meant to be the chosen one. With that, the crystal that duplicates began to disintegrate. When it broke, inside was one of the artifact fragments. Lai he said that even without that system, he was still the person who would save this world. Not only was he the one who would kill the Demon King, but he was also the true light of humanity. He raised the dagger surrounded by golden light, knowing that at that very moment, the Demon King was about to arrive, and he himself appeared entering the dungeon. He was immediately startled and felt something bad. Suddenly, Lai he attacked him without hesitating for a second. He noticed that the guy's weapon already had a divine fragment. Lai he knew he was the chosen one from the prophecy to kill this guy. If that was the case, he just needed to trust himself. And with that, he managed to land an attack on Bai Linfeng's chest. Lai he said that now that he pierced his heart with a fragment, there was no way he could survive. However, in front of him, Bai began to transform. And in fact, he transformed into the real Lai he. The future Lai he asked what was happening and why he was there. He realized he had attacked his own past self. Seeing the body on the ground, he was completely confused, until someone screamed in the room saying there were 2 Lai He's. It was Lai Ye, who thought she was attacking the mirror Lai He because she knew this dungeon. Gev, who told her to be careful because it looked like Lai He had failed mission. And with that, the whole team advanced toward him. He tried to explain that the dead Lai He wasn't him. However, Taiyenshin told everyone to look the clothes and see they were the same as Lai He's from the morning. While the other was holding a fragment in his hand, the one said to be carried by the leader of this place. Kexiok attacked, saying that apparently that was the replica they had to kill. The future Lai, he managed to defend himself while trying to explain they were getting everything wrong. However, Gao, who appeared from above and sent a barrage of ice. He already knew there was no way to win because there were too many of them. At that moment, Leia came from behind with a whip in hand. Once again, he managed to defend himself, knowing he would lose because the divine fragment did nothing against humans. What he wanted to understand was why he ended up attacking his own past self, and why he entered this room transformed as the Demon King. The scene shifted to the moment when he was at the window receiving the system mission. That S-rank potion he received appeared in his hand. He knew that it could disguise his form and could save him in critical moments. And at that moment, the system told him to go to the mirror dungeon and kill the clone that we generated. Obviously, the system also strongly recommended that he use the shape-shifting potion, and that he go as quickly as possible to secure the items for himself. He knew it was indeed the mirror dungeon, so he already figured it wasn't a lie. That's when he entered and saw a copy of himself and realized everything was right. And it seemed the dungeon had cloned his true form. While the future he attacked him in an instant. At the moment his heart was pierced, he wondered why he was being called the Demon King. He couldn't react because his future self was much stronger and simply fell without being able to say anything. All he wanted to understand was why things went wrong if he only followed the system's missions. And now Chanshin hit a barrage of fire on the future Lai's back. He had been extremely cautious these last 3 days so that no one would know he came from the future. So why was everything so different from the past life? At that moment, his body fell to the ground. As he tried to look up, the group members said the boss was too easy. Bai lifted his head and he shouted that he was the real Demon King and they needed to kill him. The entire group laughed in his face. Tanshin said that this clone seemed to be completely crazy, but that was perfect since the item was embedded in the dagger, and they could keep it. Bai said this was a very weak replica and didn't even deserve to exist in this place. The future Lai began to question if somehow the king already knew about his existence. He approached Lai and asked if he really thought he was the only one who could go back in time. At that moment, Lai was shocked. The scene flashed back to when Bai first invited Lai to his group. He passed on the information about the second fragment and said he could come along. He then told Tanshin to inform everyone that he had some business to take care of. When he entered the room, he thought his life was very similar to that of a true hero. Then he was startled. His future self was in his room, all beaten up, and he welcomed his other timeline version. Man, it's a mess, but it's starting to make sense. That's when Lai understood he wasn't the only one with this advantage. And then Bai kicked him in the face, telling them to finish him off. Goku stabbed him and he wondered how he let this happen. The future body fell beside the present one. Looking at himself, he said he should have been the protagonist. Chanshin brought the second fragment, saying everything was going very well. Vexio praised her strikes and said it was all because of the captain's leadership. Bai announced he would carry the fragment to ensure its safety, while wondering how he wanted to destroy these things. With that, it was time for the whole group to go back home. As always, he would store the fragments in his tower where he was invincible. He asked someone how he would prevent having a wound in his chest. The person replied that in 2 months, the snow would start to fall. He left his beaten-up version in the castle, who said he would have to find a hero named Oing Wufeng. This person is extremely strong and he almost couldn't face him. He had to flee and force the association guy to turn back time for him. Bai asked if that meant he was safe for the next 2 months, and said that his future self didn't seem like he would live many more days. This younger self began to dislike his older self, saying his way of speaking was very arrogant. He reminded him that his life in this place is infinite, so even if he was about to leave, he would continue to stay there. President Bai said that now he was like a damsel trapped in a castle, which was shameful. The future self, on the other hand, replied that he had already wanted to kill his past self. However, he warned him to be careful with the elders because their abilities influence each other. Heroes like Lin Xiao have already returned multiple times in the past, and both their futures have been affected many times. Now their timeline is completely disrupted and he has no idea what will happen. President Bai said he would wait for these 2 months for Oing Wufeng while relaxing a bit. However, the past self didn't want him to do that, knowing that Bastard was going out to have fun while he was abandoned there. But Bai just told him to manage on his own as he would enjoy himself in the human world. Once again, the news announced that the hero Bai Qinfeng had acquired the second relic to defeat the Demon King. And in the city, among some bushes, someone was moving. A guy emerged out of nowhere saying that this world from 20 years ago was full of people. It was incredible to see such a blue sky and intact buildings. A system pet said he had to take advantage of this chance and quickly find the artifact. He replied not to worry as he would fulfill the great divine mission. Apparently, he had one of those systems that the gods of the universe were all watching him. He said he would take a look at the world so everyone would know how it was in the past. He went to a coffee shop and said he had only read about it in some books. For God's sake, Bai was already there, having his coffee too. Both of them spat it out, saying it was disgusting. They both wondered why humans drank something so bitter and with no nutrients. The waitress began to wonder if what they served was really that bad. Then he went to his cinema to watch a classic movie. Once again, Bai Qinfeng was nearby, enjoying himself with the girls. Later, he went to play darts. He hit the bullseye and received some rewards. Bai, it seemed, once again followed the same routine. But today he had a strange feeling. The girls were all around Bai, saying he was very impressive and asking for all his secrets. Both of them thought this human world was quite interesting. Then he went to the central zoo. There, the future hero was complaining about people locking animals in cages, and Bai said they should die because being trapped in the same place was worse than death. The dolphins jumped through the rings of fire, and the girls were all excited. From above, the future hero said it was ridiculous to make animals perform such stupid tricks. Bai seemed to share the same opinion, saying it was torture and cruel. Shortly after, both were expelled from the zoo. Bai said it was a very strange place, and the guy from the future called out to him. When he saw him, he said he couldn't believe he was seeing the person for real. He threw himself on the ground, begging to join Bai's group, who said he didn't even know where the next fragment would be. Then Bai's system informed him that there was someone with the system close by. He was confused because the boy seemed normal. The system warned that not only did he have one, but it was also much more advanced than his. Apparently, the kid from the future always knew he was right next to the Demon King, and he told Bai that he didn't need to worry because he knew where the next fragment was. Bai congratulated him and said he was welcome to the group then. The guy from the future asked if he wouldn't find it strange that he knew where the fragment was. Bai replied that it didn't matter since he wouldn't believe it anyway. The guy smiled and said he was very happy they could work together. This guy's name was Liu 13, and his last name wasn't important. What was important to know was that he was born in the era of war. He was born 2 months after the great injury of the Demon King, which unbalanced everything between humans and demons. The Demon Tower started releasing monsters all over the city, and in the next 5 years, humanity was engulfed in war, destruction, and sacrifices. In the beginning, humans and demons fought each other, of course. Gradually, people realized the number of demons was almost infinite, while they could steal resources from other humans to survive much more easily. In the end, humanity's greatest danger was itself. This war lasted 5 years until a colossal event occurred. When he was 3 years old, the gods descended to the planet and saw an opportunity. They enjoyed watching war and competition, and the human planet had become the perfect stage. The planet turned into a sort of game that was broadcast to other places. Survivors received rewards from these so-called gods. Basically, survival on that planet depended on what the gods provided. As the entire place was driven by war, the human population decreased by more than 1,000-fold. Nothing was safe on the planet, and humanity began to survive behind bars. The places were protected by gods, but they demanded that children participate in the wars. With this, humanity regressed to what resembled gladiatorial combat in coliseums. He survived until he was 18 years old and received a mission. He met the Elder of Time, who was one of the leaders of the Hunters Association from the past. His mission was to go back to Earth 20 years ago and ensure that the arrival of the gods was anticipated. For this, he would need the fragment that had been left there 1,000 years before. All this because the gods wanted to see how the competition would unfold if all humans were alive before the Demon King's war began. The gods needed new slaves, and he wanted to save more humans. At least that was better than letting 99% of the population disappear. However, at the moment the Elder of Time was going to take him to the past, he asked a question. Since he was going back to the past, should he forget about bringing the gods with him? He would have to resist the future gods just as humanity in the present resisted against humans. At that moment, he told Bai that it would be an honor to search for the artifact with a legend he had always heard about. He was like a lion raised in captivity trying to escape the zoo, and Qin Feng said he was eager to introduce him to the team's allies. What Liu found interesting was that words like hope and home were still used at this time. He arrived at the association and registered, all excited. The gods accompanying him said this time was truly spectacular, and Bai's system notified him that the guy had 10% progress. That made Bai curious because the boy didn't seem to want to hide anything, and also because he had the system. Just by looking at him raise his hand to the sky, it was clear there was something wrong with the boy. The reception girl said there was another person with Bai Qinfeng's condition, 2 weirdos staring into nothing and talking to the beyond. Bai took member 13 to meet his group, saying they were great people, and the boy was impressed that the Demon King also praised humans. The group was all gathered in the room having fun, and as soon as he entered, everyone smiled, saying it looked like he was a new member. Embarrassed, he agreed and said he already felt at home. Lydia said that was strange because to her, it didn't feel like home. It was a place of workers full of resentment, as her home was much more comfortable. However, number 13 smiled, saying that for him it was already very pleasant. After all, compared to his past life, this place was a paradise. Tianqian welcomed him, and Xiaok asked how his life was in the past. The boy stood still for a moment, thinking about it. He remembered how much he suffered to get food and said everyone there should be grateful. But he mentioned that he also had something he called home. Tianqian smiled, saying that was good since everyone needs a place like that. And Xiaok asked if he was always alone and never had allies. Once again, the boy became thoughtful. He remembered that often the competition involved killing those he trained with, and with that, he said he had also had many allies. Bai thought to himself that he also had many allies. Gubhu said that if Bai trusted the boy, he also trusted him. Number 13 replied that he was loyal to God and dedicated everything to God, even if it meant bringing the gods to the planet and helping more humans survive. Bai was thinking that his mission was similar, but in reverse. With that, they joined hands, saying they would do their best to gather the fragments. The scene shifted to the SS-ranked dungeon, Labyrinth of the Abyss. The entire group was already there at the entrance. Number 13 wanted to know why there were so many people there. It wasn't just their group, but many others. Apparently, everyone was informed through the news that the fragment was there, and the girls from afar were smitten, seeing Bai Qinfeng in person. Number 13 felt sad because the best he could do was pass the location to his team. While the girls clung to Bai, saying he was amazing, someone touched his shoulder and told him not to be discouraged. They were teammates, and he would keep helping him until he succeeded. Number 13 replied that he really was a very good person, and Bai thought he had fooled another child. With that, he told them to hurry up because the fragment was at the end of this labyrinth. The group said it was better to choose the right entrance, but Bai replied that it didn't matter. While number 13 wondered why all the allies trusted the Demon King so much, they reached a room with several entrances, and Seok asked which way they should go. That's when they realized that this space had its own rules. The first rule of that intersection was to kill the team's allies to move forward. At that moment, number 13 was shocked. He wondered if he would have to kill everyone again. The problem was that the exit had been closed since that was a place that followed its own rules. He knew that if they didn't complete the mission, they would be trapped there forever. However, strangely, everyone was laughing and saying it was a boring rule. Number 13 was wondering why they were so calm until he noticed something was wrong. Chanshin was approaching Seok, and he thought she was setting a trap for him. He was sure everyone was pretending to be calm to take advantage of each other. But Chanshin was actually sleepy, saying she wanted to go home and eat cookies. Then he saw Seok reaching into his pocket and was sure something was going to happen. But he just pulled out a carton of milk and told Gyaohu to use his power to make some ice cream for everyone. With that, they made a special version of the Demon King. Number 13 began to wonder what kind of maniacs these people were and why that ice cream was shaped like the Demon King. He started questioning if he was the only one worried about this rule, until someone brought him a popsicle too. Yahello said he seemed very stressed and that it was to help him relax. Number 13 said he was shaking with fear, not heat, but thanked them anyway. He began to realize that these people were very kind and now he didn't want to hurt them anymore. Suddenly, Bai raised his arms and said it was time to start. From afar, number 13 was yelling that they didn't need to kill each other and could try to find another solution. Seeing Bai start to use some power, all he didn't want was to lose these new allies. He kept insisting that there might be another way, but Bai said it wasn't necessary. His attack hit the rule board, causing it to collapse. Number 13 didn't understand what he was doing. Soon the rule was destroyed and Bai said they just needed to go through another path. That's when number 13 realized he had been following rules all his life, never questioning breaking them. Just like that dolphin in the zoo, he followed the rules without even questioning them. Bai said that when they didn't like the rules, they destroyed them. And if they didn't find a path, they created their own. After all, they were one of the strongest teams around. With that, they continued destroying the labyrinth. Rule after rule imposed on them was simply shattered. The path that number 13 could never have imagined was being created right in front of him. He didn't know the word hope anymore, so he never thought of resisting. However, the Demon King was advancing in a way that broke all the logic he had followed on that planet. Chanshin began to retreat, telling number 13 to follow Bai Feng. The rules there were very brutal, so she was going to warn the rest of the team not to enter that place. Number 13 just nodded, realizing he had always been trapped in a zoo. But for a moment he got excited, saying he would follow the captain. Just as the guy from the association had said, the best path was to find a way for humanity not to become slaves to the gods. He could ignore the future system and seek the only hope the place had. To him, Bai was the light he needed and the hope he wanted. Now it was clear why all the other allies were so calm when they encountered the rules. Even without the powers of the tower, the Demon King was still extremely powerful. However, they found the chest empty. Kneeling number 13 said it was impossible. How could someone have gotten there before them? Bai looked at some footprints and said that it seems someone had just taken the divine fragment. He began to walk, saying they just needed to follow the footprints and they would find out. Along the way, all the rules had indeed been completed. Number 13 was scared because if this person had completed everything, they must have been extremely cruel. They had already passed through many rules and were about to reach the entrance. There, they found a board where the team's allies were standing. They approached and asked what happened. Chanshin explained that the rules disappeared the moment someone took the fragment. The problem was that everyone else had lost their lives doing the first rule. Hexio commented that they must have hesitated for too long. However, number 13 knew that for someone to have done it so quickly, they must have killed their allies instantly. While Tayanshin said it was a dangerous person, the Demon King felt something strange. And number 13 wondered if this person who did this was the same one who would kill the Demon King in the future. The scene shifted to the house of the family of the person who would kill the Demon King. They were the first to seal the divine items 1,000 years ago, which is why they knew the location of them all. Sitting on the throne, the elders said they needed to increase the number of hunters in the family. Some seemed hesitant because the demons were very active at the moment. However, others said that family saved humanity 1,000 years ago and would save it again. Suddenly, someone in a suit entered, informing them that an intruder was in the area. The cultivation master, nicknamed The Rock, said this person was very audacious. A man riding a Pegasus passed by and everyone wanted to know who this odd figure was. He stopped and said that 1,000 years had passed and the family had grown very weak. The people noticed that he had a sword with a divine fragment on his back. They asked if he was a hunter, and he questioned if that was what cultivators were called now. He wasn't a hunter, but Aoying Wufeng. The elders, shocked, recognized the name as that of an ancestor from 1,000 years ago. The people said he would have to prove he was that person because it made no sense. However, Ouyang simply stated that he didn't need to prove anything because this family needed someone strong, and he was that person. Every era has its protagonists, and 1,000 years ago, he was the protagonist of this world. When the entire land fell into chaos, he was the one who led the attack against the Demon Tower. That's how he discovered that the Demon King was unbeatable and decided to collect the 10 items to seal him. Sacrificing some lives was inevitable for the peace of everyone. When he realized it, he was the only one who had survived all of that. Unfortunately, the path to saving everyone was cruel and lonely. The moment he was about to enter the tower with the 10 fragments, a strong lightning bolt crossed the sky, and he was teleported to this moment. This means the only way to save the world happens in this generation. He commented that he wanted information on all the fragments, and an elder said that 2 were collected by the strongest hunter of the association. Looking at the photo of the protagonist group, he said there wasn't a human who wasn't greedy, and he would only feel safe if he had the fragment. The elder warned that if he attacked the nation's hero, he would be seen as a villain. However, Ouyang said that the path to greatness is always cruel and lonely. In an instant, he disappeared in front of everyone, leaving them confused. On the way back, the group wondered what they would do since someone had taken the fragment before them. Suddenly, Bai looked back and seemed to notice something. He immediately asked who that person was. The entire group seemed to be surrounded by some talismans. Tianxian had no idea since she had never seen an attack like this. And in an instant, no one in the group could move. Bai quickly realized that these were techniques used 1,000 years ago. Suddenly, something was approaching the group. In an instant, Ouyang appeared with his hands on Tianxian. Bai activated an aura that seemed to break those seals. And number 13 noticed that something was still wrong. However, our villain already knew that the person in front of him was Ouyang, the one destined to kill him. He demanded that Bai Qinfeng hand over the 2 fragments he had, or else he would kill the girl. Both of them looked at each other, feeling uncomfortable. Number 13 wondered what choice Bai Qinfeng would make, while they both were enjoying the show, eating popcorn. At that moment, Bai remarked that the man must have been the one who killed their ally, and took the fragment without hesitation. However, he had already noticed that the blade on the man's back was a significant danger to him. Tianxian told Bai not to worry because they had suffered too much to obtain those fragments. Ouyang seemed impressed that she was saying this even in such a situation. Xiok wanted to do something, but Bai told him to wait. He then said that the 2 fragments were not with him since he had hidden them. Besides, she wasn't as valuable as they were, so her death wouldn't be worth it. Ouyang commented that every strong person is always without feelings. In this respect, the 2 were very similar. In an instant, Ouyang disappeared, telling him to remember his name. Xiok asked Bai if he could rescue Tianxian like he did when she was captured by the Demon King. Everyone started talking about what they would do to try to rescue their team member. But Bai was only thinking about what the man said about them being similar. And with a bit of ego, he said the guy was nothing like him. The group seemed motivated by these words, thinking Bai would try to save Tianxian. The gods were enjoying the Demon King's performance while complaining that number 13 wasn't doing anything. However, his priority now was to find a way to prevent Bai Feng from dying at the hands of Ouyang. The future Demon King warned that it would be Ouyang who would kill him. But the boy named number 13 was an unknown variable. The existence of this guy made this timeline very different from the one he lived. Bai thought that the boy also had the destiny of a protagonist. The Demon King handed over some things and asked if he really planned to save Tianxian, and that it seemed he was acting this way to keep Ouyang from understanding how he operates. Bai thanked him, saying that it seemed he knew him very well. But in truth, he planned to kill Tianxian. His future self said it made sense since she was the only person who knew his true identity. Bai's plan was to get involved in a fight with Ouyang where Tianxian would die without him taking the blame. That way, he could still create tension between the association and Ouyang's family. The future Demon King warned him to be careful because Ouyang's strength was incomprehensible. All he needed to do was stay alive until he was fully recovered, and together, they would be invincible. The next day at the Ouyang family house, Qinfeng had arrived. He introduced himself, saying he brought the 2 fragments as promised. However, suddenly something startled him. Tianxian was trapped in his cell with blood all around the bars. She grabbed the bars and started murmuring, unable to speak properly. All bruised, she looked at him and said she always knew he would come to save her. It was unclear if Bai was putting on an act or if he was genuinely moved because he seemed scared. Ouyang said he didn't like hostages who talked too much. With that, the chubby man gave another whip. He was angry because it seemed they had tried to extract information from her all night, but she didn't say anything. The elders continued beating her, saying it was incredible that such a young girl could endure so much without revealing any information. Bai Qinfeng realized that even though he wanted to kill her, she had remained loyal in the end. He threw the 2 fragments, saying he came to get her. Ouyang said he was weaker than he thought for trading such rare items for a simple woman. Then he turned, telling the old man to release the girl. Tianxian ran into Bai's arms, saying she didn't say anything and knew he would come to save her. She said he saved her in the past, so she would never betray him. However, suddenly he felt something. In an instant, he had a strange headache. Ouyang said that now that he had 3 artifacts, it was time to go after the 4th. Suddenly, something caught his attention from behind. Bai had punched him in the face. Ouyang was thrown against the wall. Shocked, the family members said he was crazy for offending the ancestor. However, Bai simply asked if they didn't understand. He was there to exterminate the entire clan. The scene shifted to Xiok, with tears in his eyes. Someone raised a hand saying he had finally arrived. Bai held Tianqian in his arms, saying they were waiting outside by the captain's orders. Meanwhile, the family elders asked how he dared to act like that in their place, and warned that just the two of them wouldn't be enough to defeat the 1,000 family members. However, Bai just laughed and activated an ancient relic. Or rather, a very modern relic, because an entire army pointed weapons at everyone. Bai announced that times had changed. With that, the soldiers started shooting, and the family members tried to defend themselves with barriers. Many were members of the Lin family and other famous families in the city that seemed to have declared war. Even a rain of torpedoes was heading their way. From the skies, a swarm of military jets was dropping bombs. It was Liya who was organizing this plan. Even though hunters were strong, they were still made of flesh and blood. From the missile room, Gao Hu said it was for the Lin family, and launched an atomic bomb to destroy that mansion, which was indeed wiped off the map. From afar, everyone in the city watched the explosions rise. In an instant, the place had turned into a desert. An elder asked how they dared to become enemies of the Aoying family, and Tianqian was emotional to see that the group members hadn't abandoned her. Oak said it was Bai Qinfeng's plan, but they had no idea of the outcome. Meanwhile, our villain wondered where Aoying had gone, since he couldn't let him escape so easily. Suddenly, Ouyang appeared, activating an earth talisman. Bai felt something strange. The entire ground seemed to be moving oddly, and suddenly, a lot of rocks headed his way. All the debris from that place gathered around him. Liya told Gao Hu to do something, but he said it was impossible to break through such a barrier. Ouyang approached, and the elders said they needed to show the consequences of opposing their family. However, something caught his attention. All the disaster he had created was being destroyed, and Bai Qinfeng emerged unscathed from the midst of it. The team celebrated that the captain had survived. The biggest problem was that our villain couldn't use demonic powers, or they would know he wasn't the real Bai Qinfeng. And so, Wuniang began activating a bunch of talismans, saying that resistance was futile. In an instant, he was surrounded by vines, and all the weapons in the area were pointing at him. Trying to survive while pretending to be a hunter wasn't easy, and the whole group shouted for Bai, telling him to be careful. Once again, Ouyang was surprised. Bai had easily freed himself from the vines and escaped everything. But the only reason he was alive was because his HP was enormous. The problem was he couldn't use his power, or everyone would know who he was. Ouyang said he would remember the name Bai Qinfeng. He truly was a talented boy. It was just a pity that he was his opponent. Bai responded that he was overly pretentious. And suddenly, all the city's river waters were moving in that direction. Massive water dragon formed in the skies, heading towards Bai. Seeing that, he knew he couldn't defend against it head-on. And worse,